Okay, we are live, and welcome to episode 25 of the Clutch Kick. I'm one of your hosts, EG. Greg, he's running late. He's just gone to pick up his car from the tuner, so he should be in. He shouldn't be too far away. For tonight, though, we've got our special guest, Mitch Doyle, who we'll be chatting with him about himself as well as the State of Origin, which is last weekend. I think it was run by Tita, is that right?
Yeah, Tita Top End Drift Association, yep.
Cool. Okay, so I think we'll go through some news with Greg once he gets here. So we'll probably stop at the change the subject then. But to begin with, I guess we'll start off with an introduction from you. So you're from Darwin. So I guess tell a bit about yourself and what the drift scene is like in Darwin.
Yeah, so I've been drifting for about 5-6 years now with Top End Drift Association. It's still growing in Darwin. It's not massive. We're still obviously quite a fresh young club compared to others around Australia. Obviously, we used to be part of a motorsport body called NAMS, which is the Non-Australian Motorsport Club. The last 2 years we've gone out by ourselves, so we're actually our own identity now. Kind of like Luke is with Drift Challenge Australia. We're actually our own entity. So we hire the track, we organise the events. Our officials, obviously with help from other people, all do the events. It's all under CAMS.
Okay.
Fortunately, in Darwin, so we don't get to have as much fun as we do at DCA.
Yeah.
But the trains aren't there, but it's still a great event. It's still relaxed, I guess, is the word. It's all chilled out, relaxed. Everyone has fun with everyone. There's no one takes it, I guess, as serious as you get like your high tech summits. We're really serious. In Darwin, it's pretty chilled out, like DCA is.
Yeah. So you guys all know each other and stuff.
Yeah, because it's such a small group, we all get along. We'll help each other out if something breaks. Lending cars, we actually managed to get away with that on the weekend. Unfortunately, obviously, I blew my motor up on Friday in practice, and we're actually allowed to borrow cars on Saturday, which was good. I ended up borrowing 2 in the end because the first one I borrowed broke as well. So
was that your fault or was it just incidental?
I wouldn't say it's my fault, but I went out to qualify and his diff blew up as I drove out.
Okay, yeah, so it's not really, yeah.
So and I didn't end up actually, lucky there was only 16 cars, so I didn't actually get to qualify because, so I borrowed another car and unfortunately, had quite a big issue with Dale Campaign straight up, having the number one driver probably in Australia at the moment. First up in a car you don't know is a bit hard. So talk about that later, but drifting in Darwin, we're growing. It's growing sport. The crowds obviously are getting bigger from when we first started out with a few family members coming to watch to having obviously a lot more people. Not a lot younger people is good to see as well. It's not just the same people every year.
Yep.
There's new people coming. Every year, which is good.
Okay. And how did you get into drifting? Have you always lived in Darwin?
So I've lived in Darwin most of my life. Used to obviously in my younger years live in a boat travelling around the world with my parents. So cars were never a big thing then. When I came back to Australia and obviously got in the high school stage, cars became a lot bigger. I was more into drag racing back when I had my Commodore, and then obviously found drifting and obviously quite quickly changed to being a drifter more than a drag racer.
Okay.
So I guess I just enjoy motorsports. I watch all motorsports. So I'll watch drifting, I'll watch V8 supercars, Formula 1, everything. So
yeah, cool. So what made you get into drifting? Because you're pretty active. I think you're probably one of the most travelled drifters in Australia, I think. Like I've seen you all over Australia.
So I think I did. We looked on the map on the way to Tassie. I think I've done the longest run ever for a drifter in Australia, from Darwin all the way to Tasmania. Perth to Queensland gets close, but I think we beat it by like 60 k's, plus the boat trip as well. So
yeah, nice.
So that was definitely, I definitely wanted to do that. It was one of my bucket list items, and probably financially shouldn't have done it, but I didn't care. I just wanted to go. So yeah, it was a great trip. I enjoyed myself. The long drives are always, obviously, you think to yourself, why do you bother doing it? But then you get there and you know why. the events are so good, and mates you catch up with you don't always see, so it's always good. But I guess getting into drifting, a few of mates that did it, and obviously it was a new skill I wanted to learn. I guess trying to do something else like drag racing. Yeah, okay, people say it's not a lot of skill, but there is a fair bit of skill involved. But then I saw drifting, I was like, oh, I want to give that a go, and I did. And unfortunately, it stuck for 6 years. So now I've got 2 cars in 2 different states and having a blast, having fun with it. Good, and I've met some really good people while doing it.
Yeah, I've seen you made a lot of friendships. What did you start off with? If you came from drag racing, did you start off in your Commodore?
So black R32.
Okay.
So black R32, which I bought off the president of TIDA at the time. He still is the president now. So we bought that off him, and I actually shared it with a mate, one of the apprentices at work. So I bought it with him, asked with him. And
yep.
It lasted, I think, a year, and I got too much of a bug, and I had to build my own car, which was the Hulk as I first started doing that.
Oh, okay.
4 years ago now. So that's the second car I ever owned. The first one was the R32, which just had a HCAS turbo, just a bit of boost up, and that's probably about it. Welded diff, and that was it.
Okay. Did you have a drag car at the time?
I just had a street car was my drag car. So I had a VSS 6.7 litre, big V8, supercharger, all that kind of stuff. And it was more of a street car than a drag car, but I enjoyed going drag racing in it with mates. So I guess you do things in motorsport you're doing with your mates. So
yeah, it's always more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Dan, you didn't take that drifting at all to begin with, or no?
Nah, I kind of left that in the shed, and 32 came up cheap, so I bought that with my mate. So I think we paid $5,000 for it. So $2,500 each, so it's pretty cheap. Came with rims, like all wheels and everything like that. We just got in it and drove it really, and it still goes. It's still going now. I think it's been through another 2 sets of hands since, but it's still going. So CC tuned it. I think last time he was up, last time he came up, he tuned it. I think guy put a fuel system and everything in it. I don't know why. Old one must have died, but yeah, it still goes, and it's a young guy who's bought it now to get into drifting, so it's good to see.
Okay. And what sort of events did you participate in then? Like, is it different then to now?
No, it's still the same. Obviously, I didn't do DCA back then. It was just more just the local skid pan days. So in Darwin, we got a grading system. Unfortunately, because it's a government-owned track, we have to grade the drivers before they're allowed on track.
Okay.
So you got your skid pan fun nights, which we do on Friday nights. Like we do a kind of like a car park evening on Friday night, where you're going from 6 till 10, and you pack up, and you have a barbecue and go home. So it gets the young guys that want to just come down and thrash their cars, and it also gives a chance for them to get graded. So if they do well over 2 or 3 sessions, they get moved from C grade to B grade, where they're allowed to go on the track but can't battle and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then obviously after that, we have to show we're not, because it's a very supercars track. They pride themselves on the whole venue looking schmick all the time.
Yep.
Just fair enough. That's what it's there for. So unfortunately, we've got to grade our drivers to say you can't just let anyone on the track. So interstate drivers, that's no worries. They come up because they've obviously been drifting for a while. But you can't just have a person grab their daily first time ever and go straight on the track in case they injure themselves, break something, destroy the grass, hit the wall. So there's a few things in place that we've had to do as a club to show that we're not just out there to, I guess, thrash cars and break stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that before from Darwin. We did have that system at Sydney, at Sydney Motorsport Park, but I don't think that sort of system exists anymore. It was just like a level 1 and level 2, where level 2 you'd only get to run on the big track, but there was no restrictions with 10s or anything. Who does the...
Yeah, right. So... Hey?
Yeah, sorry. Who does the grading and...
So like I'd say the older people of the club, so like the president, myself, the guys that have been around a while. So I guess the guys that are A-grade drivers that are willing, I guess, to teach. So if you're willing to teach, you can grade them. If you don't want to help out, well, then you just go the car. So yeah.
And if people want to compete, do they need to go through this system, or do they just sort of apply to compete in an event and then they get in?
Yeah, so with our local stuff, if you can prove to us you've been drifting before, we had a guy just move up from New South Wales, or Victoria, I think it was. with a drift car, like purpose-built drift car, and he could prove he could actually drive. So he obviously went straight into being able to go on the track.
Yep.
So if you can show us you can drive, so say if someone like say Lippy came up for just a normal round,
Yep.
he could prove he drives, so he would be allowed on the track. So with all the SA guys, the Vic drivers, everyone who comes up for invitational, the invitational is only for A grade drivers. So
Okay.
they're obviously already been graded because we know they can drive.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So it's kind of an event where the system goes out the door, really, for interstate people.
All right. I think Greg's just about to get on. He just sort of sending me messages. Sorry. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So the grading system. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, or do you think it hinders people?
It hinders people a little bit in the fact that because we got to be so hard on people with the grass issue,
Yeah.
it stops people if they're still learning to go hard, I guess, I'm trying to say, like to try and do their potential.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for us, the A grade drivers, we can try and control the car quite well, and we know where to put it. The B grade drivers are still learning. We had a few years ago come and they did a bit of grass damage and then virtually told you off the track and they never came back.
Okay.
Which we're trying to fix, and we're trying to move forward. Like we always seem to help fix the grass. Like our club is that small. We all stick together and do if we're required to, a working bee after the event.
Okay.
So the event we just had, we may be asked by the government to come fix some grass, which there's no issue. We always get 10 or 12 people down to come help do the grass. Like just spray it around, put some water on it, fix the edges. So it's kind of what Luke does in Tassie, but we do it ourselves. We don't pay to get it done.
Yeah, cool. So, and everyone's really willing to help out, just because then if they help out, then they'll actually get more track time, or it gives them a reason to keep them on.
Yeah, correct. It's the club. You still have the same people help all the time. You're always going to have that in every club, I guess. So, but if we are seen to be helping to fix the track when we damage it, we'll get to keep the track. If we just damage it and don't fix it, we'll either get charged. So we'll have to. So our event's like $100 for the day. I know down south pay up to 250.
Yeah.
So, because I guess also our track's not privately owned, the fees aren't massively high either to hire the track. Like you've got a proper V8 Supercars track there. I think our hire is $800 or something. It's not massive for a full-on V8 Supercars track.
How much was it? Sorry.
800
for the track.
For the day, yeah.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that. That's what I think we're talking about it. Yeah.
How many people do you get it to practice day then? Or
so like the skid pan days and stuff like that, we've had up to the 30 or 40 cars rock up.
Wow. Okay.
But then you have your competition where there's only say 12. So on the weekend we had 22 people rock up, so 16 locals.
Yep.
Which was probably the best we've done at a comp all year, as such.
Okay.
We don't always get the people who want to do comps. We always get the people who are keen to just thrash their cars on a Friday night.
Yep.
I guess more than the people that want to go do a competition and damage their street car or their daily.
Yeah. Okay.
So. Yeah. So. The club is all about the drivers. None of the money is taken home by anyone. It's all just left in obviously the bank account, and it's all play invitational. We provided $500 for all the people that came up to help with their travel money.
Yep.
And I know that's the only place that does it in the world, in Australia, because I don't get any money when I go down south.
Yeah. No.
So,
yeah.
So, but yeah, it helps out because it's such a long way to drive. Like I've spoken to the club about doing massive amounts of, fundraising for next year to try and get a massive amount of prize money, I guess, to see if a lot of people will come up.
Yeah.
So, you look at Luke's thing with the $16,000 prize money and stuff like that, everyone comes to it. So, I guess if you had even $6,000 for first place to try and get people up to the event and just, I guess, being able to drive the event firsthand and not hearing from other people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. That's really, I think it is the only place. Well, there are some subsidies, I guess, but yeah, that's the first I've heard that anyone that was invited to come would get that $500 to actually help them travel.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's really cool. Just sort of waiting for Greg because I think he's almost ready to come on, but not quite yet. So he must be like scoffing down some dinner or something like that.
but
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, it's just so I guess we're just a little bit too far away for people just to make the daily trip, I guess. So like you guys go from SA to Queensland, no worries, because it's just up the road really. Like you think about it, it's only I guess someone like that's for Graham's route. That's a regular route for Graham. If anyone wants to go from SA,
Yep.
he's already going to Melbourne, so he'll go to Queensland. Like for us, he doesn't go to Darwin anymore, so
Yeah.
he goes out. He goes out of his way, and he's always been a massive supporter from Graham for GH Haulage of the event. He's I guess the one who helped make it the event it is, being able to bring the guys from down south up.
Yeah. Yeah. As I heard that Dale was advertising his transport up to Darwin last weekend. That was pretty cool. I think did you got the
Yeah.
trailer was full, wasn't it? Pretty much.
It wasn't only because of I guess other people like Hemmings wanting to concentrate in Queensland,
Yeah.
Lippy wanting to concentrate in Queensland. So that's two drivers we thought were going to come up. But obviously, drifting is an expensive sport. You can't do everything.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, they decided to go to Queensland. So Graham ended up filling the truck up. The last three spots were just general car freight.
Yep.
So that helped him fill the truck, which is a good thing because if he couldn't get three other cars, he wasn't going to come. So that would have been a massive
Okay.
blow for our event.
Yeah, it's quite a long distance. It's 3,000 k's or something, isn't it?
3,000 from 3,100, 200 from Adelaide.
Yeah. Wow. So up at Darwin, is it only the Hidden Valley Raceway that you've got access to? Like, do you have any other facilities that you go to?
No, we've got virtually Hidden Valley is the only one we use. So we only really do three sections, really. That's all we can do. I
Yep.
guess we have turn one, which we just do big entry comps on.
Yep.
On a massive long straight, as fast as you can drive and throw it in. It's virtually that's all you do on that one. It's just for a bit of fun corner, and then you've got 5, 6, and 7, which is a right hand turn, and then unfortunately a straight, then to a hairpin, to a straight, to a right hand turn again. Unfortunately, we've been talking to the government, trying to be able to get once again us paying for a bitumen part to go in the middle, so we can make a track out of the area.
Yep.
So you could kind of try and turn into kind of like at Archerfield or X Park in that centre area because it's quite wide. But the things that stop us is vet supercars say no, and because that's a major race event that happens on the track, the government say no.
Yeah. Okay. So you need a
So
bit more of a push to actually get some other things happening there. What do you know if they run any other events like maybe Rallycross or what's another?
no, at the track there's virtually motorbikes and lap sprints, HQs, racing, I guess. And they have the police facility out the back where they do the wet skid pan and stuff like that. So that's about all that gets used the track for.
Okay.
And push bike riding. They drive push bikes around.
Yeah, I heard about that. That was interesting. I don't know why you'd
that
want
was
to do
interesting.
that. Yeah. What about if have you actually gotten together with the other groups and said, hey, let's all sort of make a big push to try and extend the track and put some extra corners in there, like not to the main, like as in add to the main track, but not take away from it.
Yeah, we're the only ones who wants it. We're the only ones who want it, unfortunately, because
Really?
those guys are just happy to race around their racetrack. Because lap sprints and them just want to do the same track all the time because that's what they're racing. So it's really just a big push from, I guess, Tita and trying to be able to offer. There's a go-kart track at Jabiru, but we're trying to see if we get access to it. Unfortunately, we don't at the moment because it's owned by the mine out there,
Okay.
which was it's abandoned. It doesn't get used anymore. It's just a dead space, but it's good. It's a good area to you can have close battles. It's tighter than Archerfield, but you could do so many different tracks, so many different entries and exit points.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But we've tried previously, and they've said no. That it's just there, so a bit hard. So we're still trying. But yeah.
Are they just saying no, or are they giving you actual good reason that you could actually do something about it? So like if it's like too noisy, like you can plant trees or like put noise barriers in or something, or they're just going no.
Yeah, well, it's not in town. It's like 2 k's from town. It's like the only problem is 2.5 hours from Darwin. So
Oh,
it's like an
okay.
X Park from Adelaide. Yeah, so it's like an X Park from
Right.
Adelaide. So you got to
Yeah.
still drive 2.5 hours to get there, and you can't change tires. So it's very coarse too because it hasn't been used for years. There's no rubber on it.
Yeah.
So the water just runs through it. So the track's very coarse. You go through a set of tires in 4 laps
Okay.
because it is so coarse. It just shreds tires.
And
But
there isn't really
it's a good.
much of a push to actually get that then, because I guess people probably aren't willing to travel that much if Hidden Valley's so close.
People would be if we're allowed to.
Yeah.
It'd be good for something different. Like if you have like I guess like DCA, you have your different rounds around Australia. If we could have a different like a round down there, around at Darwin.
Yeah.
Not doing the same track all the time would be a good thing. Not doing the same corners all the time would be a good thing. And you can go down there and camp for the night if you wanted to. It's something like that's what you could do. Like you could do a drive down there, have a camp. But it's a massive thing we're trying to talk with the mine about. It's something we'll have to keep pushing, and we're not just going to go get an answer out of them straight away.
Okay. So you're with your club, a lot of the regular drives, are they all based in Darwin, or do they come from like far away, like further than Catherine sort of thing?
Nah, so there used to be a bloke used to come from Catherine to drift, but he actually lives in Brisbane now, so he actually drifts at Archerfield.
Okay.
He used to come from Catherine for the events for like our comps and stuff, but no, it's all. So in Darwin, you've got like Hunty Do, which is like 45 minutes out of Darwin. There's a few guys that come from there, but other than that, you're within 50 minutes of the track, and every driver is within 50 minutes of the track. I'm 10 minutes down the road. The track is virtually in the middle of town. Kind
Oh,
of.
is it? Okay.
So it's virtually everything's 10 minutes from the track. We say. Everyone who comes up for invitation, they go, "How far is the track? 10 minutes. How far is the track from the town? 10 minutes. How far is the track from the airport? 10 minutes."
Because the last time I went to Hidden Valley was about 17 years ago, I think, and it was outside of town, I thought.
It's not in town as such, but the town Darwin's grown so much around it,
Yeah, okay.
I guess. So there's a big, massive highway that runs past it and stuff like that. So
Yeah, okay. Greg's still messaging me. I think he's on to his dessert, so he's saying if he can eat ice cream on the stream or not.
uh,
um,
but
I just told him it's up to him. I can dial him in whenever, so
yeah.
he's a little bit of a princess, I guess. You know, coming from the ice skating background. He's listening, so he knows I'm saying this stuff. Okay, so I guess I know Greg would probably want to expand more about it, so maybe we'll come back to
Yeah,
this.
it's cool. I'll wait for Greg. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? So if okay, I'm gonna dial Greg in. Okay. What I'll do is I'll pause this stream, and then I'll dial Greg in. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back with Gerg now. So he's just finishing up his dessert. Oh, no, he's still freezing still. All right. What sort of ice cream are you eating?
Oh, bloody Neapolitan, mate.
Oh, it's not even
Fucking
just a
all,
plain flavor.
Nah,
fucking
fuck no.
all the flavors.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
I'm good. All right, we're back up.
Okay.
What have you actually covered? I know you're talking about the track just before, and
Yeah. So
yeah, I wish even playing on Assetto Corsa and stuff. I wish that you guys could actually do something between the corner before the hairpin and the hairpin. That would be cool instead of you guys having to do 15 mungies.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's the area we want
Yeah.
to try and do. But yeah.
we didn't
Well,
cover
have
the
they
news
actually?
yet
Have they,
either. So.
that's all right. We can talk about that shit after. With the, I know you guys were trying to do a whole bunch with Hidden Valley. I joined your Tita Facebook group, and you were trying to get like stadium style lights and all that sort of stuff, and grants to do all that. Is the government just sort of anti doing anything with it because they've sort of ticked the box the same as Sydney has with Sydney Motorsport Park? Is Hidden Valley the same? Oh, we've ticked the box. The facility can hold V8 supercars. The rest of you should just stop whinging.
Yeah, we have a little bit like that. They just spent $1.3 million of lighting at the drag strip. So they're still doing a little bit of stuff. They did cancel the lighting around the entire track. There was actually a signed deal with V8 supercars that hold a night race, and then the new government pulled the pin on it and said it would never happen. It's not feasible.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we want to do I guess like a super stadium drift as such in the car park more than in the track.
Yeah.
Like set up a thing in the car park. It's a massive car park, and then everyone stands on top of the grandstand and watches. But cams, unfortunately, because we have to use cams, they kind of stomped that and said we needed these special guards, special concrete barriers, all of that kind of stuff, and it's going to cost quite a bit of money to hold an event in the car park.
Why is it that you guys have to run on cams? Is that because Hidden Valley won't take insurance from anybody else?
Pretty much. The only time AASA gets used is at Gazanats.
Is it
And
worth?
they don't use the entire track as such as we do. They just cruise around the track. They just use the main straight, and everyone just cruises around the track, and that's about it.
Yeah, no, I get that. But is that so? Then more so the fact that the track doesn't want to take insurance from another company, and they only want to run race events under cams, or do you think it would potential that they would, under the right circumstances, look at somebody like a racer or a AASA to insure them so that those sort of events could be run a little bit easier?
I guess we've stayed with cams because it's been easy. We've always run under cams, I guess. So doing the regs is the same. Everything's just been easy enough to continue with cams. And I guess they've had the big, massive crashes before. They know what insurance and what can happen, I guess.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. I love the fact that you can go to DCA and have passengers that have 10-car trains. But for a club our size to go, oh, we're going to do that and go on a totally different insurance system and then blow our chances completely with the track, it's another thing completely.
Yeah, no, that's why I was asking. Like, I knew there would be definitely sort of solid reasons as to why you guys are sort of sticking in the direction you are when there are, I guess, easier options per se in regards to leniency of regs. But in saying that, yeah, I know Racer has never actually had to pay out a massive accident or anything, and that's why I know even Luke had trouble originally with Simmons Planes accepting racer insurance for when Luke was running events because of the fact that under their insurance they haven't had to do a massive payout because of a major accident. It doesn't mean that racer events are more safe than other forms, but it just means they're insuring less events and probably less high speed events. So I don't know. It's one of those big calls, and you guys are clearly, as a group, have thought about it pretty thoroughly to decide whether or not you sort of stick with it or go against it. And at this stage, it's probably a wise idea. Would they, looking at the track map, because I just wanted to check how big the car park was, would they ever consider where I think Jason Bright cut through the track at the V8s a couple of years ago, ever doing some sort of corner through that section? There's like a bit of a link road. I think it was
through
Jason.
the pits as such, or
Nah,
in the
where
car
he
park?
nah. So what is that? Turn 1, 2. Is 3 the right hander up to the hairpin, or is that 4?
Nah, 5.
Okay, so
So you
between
got the
5.
S's, so 2 and 3 and 4 are the S's.
Yeah. So if
And
you were to
5's
cut,
right in.
so if you were to come through the right hander and then how there's like the big gap in sort of the tire wall and that to the left,
Yep.
if they would add some track in there so that you don't have to go up into the hairpin, I think that would be pretty. Just keep some good flow through there.
Yeah, what we wanted to do is even be able to run a track that way, and then you cut through the grass area,
Yeah.
and do the hairpin as such, and then come back on itself again to go through the grass bit again.
Yeah.
So
like as a
we've
cop layout and
got
stuff.
we've got like the clubs have actually got maps of what we want to do. It's just obviously I was talking to EG before, because it is a V8 supercars, as same as most City Motorsport Park. So much about V8 supercars. They'll go back to V8 supercars and say, "Oh, do you guys mind if we do this to our track?" And if they say no, well, it won't happen.
Yeah, fair enough. But I'm sure that they would probably be, if they were going to bring stadium trucks up or whatever, they're probably looking for extra area like that to try and launch their expensive toys off. So
Stadium trucks aren't coming to Darwin anymore. We blew that dash, didn't we?
Oh yeah, remember what happened with that?
Robbie Gordon doing burnout.
Yeah, in the street. That was the American guy, wasn't it?
Yeah, fucking Americans.
Couldn't you just blame it on the Americans and then just say that was?
But he owns a series though. He owns all the cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right. So he's not coming back.
No.
Yeah, I forgot that happened up there. You guys had a pretty good display going up during the V8 Supercars, though. So you guys clearly get an okay response from the community up there and from the wider motorsport community, or is that just sort of their way of trying to be inclusive?
No, so what we do is so for any club as such, it's free for us to have a display on in the obviously a static display. We had the burnout guys and the drag guys next to us, but yeah, it's just getting a little bit annoying because every question they ask is, when are you guys going on track next? And it's something we're trying to work to. And I've had a chat to Matt Mingo and Ken Dalton about it. I've had a chat to Jake Jones about how he did his, and it's just something we need to do as a club and put a plan together and actually follow it up, not just ask and then get told, no, you can't do this. Actually, if they ask how we can do it and just keep pushing it, I guess. And once we get more experience as drivers and stuff like that, I guess it's something it can happen, it can come around, but we just need to be able to do it at the right time, I guess, not do it half-assed and have drivers that will come off the grass or not do the right thing and be professional about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I guess there's been a few big accidents during V8 Supercar events in just their races and all that, so I can understand a little bit of their reluctance, like the fact that one of the big tire walls got changed for a concrete wall because of some big offs and stuff like that. So I guess they're probably worried about the downtime caused by that. But what sort of numbers did you get last weekend at State of Origin then compared to, say, a V8 Supercar, like say a Saturday at the V8s rather than, you know, a combined total of a weekend?
Total different thing. So I don't even actually know yet. I haven't had a chat and sat down with we got a meeting next week with the committee about it, just a debrief meeting next week. We'll find out more, but totally different. Drifting is still a tiny fish in the pond in Darwin. You go to the drags on a Wednesday night and get more people.
Yeah.
Mainly because it's still a new sport. You kind of, and to be, I guess, drifting in a car park, I was talking about before, we've had 40 people in the car park do a Friday night just skid pan day. But to get people actually out of their comfort zone to go drifting is a totally different story. And cars that they may be using their dailies on the skid pan.
Yeah.
I guess like a lot of people don't have dedicated drift cars in Darwin. The guys that are serious do.
Yeah.
The guys that are just keen to come over thrash on a Friday night don't have a dedicated car. So like we had 15 locals last week, and 7 come up from Adelaide. 6 from Adelaide, 1 from Queensland.
No, none from Perth this year?
No, unfortunately, yeah. Fortunately, entries opened a bit late. They was explained to us, so they couldn't get there. there. So next year's plan is to get entries open a lot earlier so people can get sponsors on board to come up. So like last year, all the WA guys got sponsors on board to come up, did a lot of fundraising and stuff like that. This time it was left a bit late, I guess. That's something the club will change and work on next year.
Yeah, I know you sent me dates pretty early this year because I was, a little bit interested in trying to get up there after last year's. But with all the bullshit that I've had to go through lately, but so I guess if people actually wanted to get there, you'd hope they'd try and get up there. And from what I'm seeing from you guys, for a small group, you have a pretty good track, like being a V8 supercar spec track. It really is up to scratch compared to what a lot of other places are stuck with. And then the fact that the event, it looks like you guys put on a good professional event. Even the live stream done by the phone I thought was pretty good. Enough to see some bullshit judging calls.
Yeah, we don't go there. Unfortunately, yeah. Every event's got to have that. I think we've had a good chat as a club too about judging. It's been a massive thing, and I guess that's why a driver like Spencer was brought up to try and give our guys a bit of a not tell them what to do, but help and to show them some things like normally we'd run that back section the same thing every year. All Spencer did was change the clipping point this year and made the battles 10 times better and a lot harder. All he did was move one clipping point. So just new ideas, fresh ideas, and telling the judges to stand by what they want, not just ask the drivers where they want stuff. And I guess doing DCAs taught me that, and like listening to EG at drivers briefing and stuff, the judges demand what they want you to do. It's not put back on the drivers. They're not doing that, so we should just change it to make sure the drivers can do it. So I guess it's Spencer made the drivers actually step up and commit to trying to make something different work.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's the beginning of a culture change, though, and that's what you have to do. Somebody like yourself has to be that catalyst for that change, and it's good that they are listening to what you've got to say. And as I would say now, you're probably one of the most experienced or the most experienced driver out of the Northern Territory with the amount of travel that you've now done with DCA, because I don't think there's been really anybody else from up there that's done as much. I know a few of the guys tried to get into it when Drift Australia was still going, but I don't think anybody actually ever committed to what you've done so far in the last couple of years.
So Grant Frensham, come from Adelaide, he did DA for a few years. He went to Tassie and stuff like that, and Danny Probert, the guy with the X-Drift team, he took his car to Queensland for a round of DA. But yeah, I guess I've done a lot of travelling, and trying to come back to the club with new ideas. And yes, they all come from DCA because only other comp I've done, apart from ours. But just, I guess, trying to show people it's not all about what's all in the rules book. You can change what's in the rules book. Like last year, the whole qualifying, as soon as you qualify your car, that's it, you're done, that's the car you're in. This year, unfortunately, obviously, the car's borrowing broke, and the guy driving that car, obviously, it broke. So he was able to borrow a car, and so was I. Which, the best thing was I had Dale campaign first up. We both agreed. Like, we don't care. It's just, I guess it's all about having the driver skill and the battles now, not just trying to get through the comp as quick as possible. And what I was trying to say to the guys is, would you rather have 5 battles or would you rather have 16 battles in people's cars that they borrowed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think
awesome.
And I think, but this is where some of the states get too ahead of themselves with wanting to run Formula Drift style competitions as every competition, rather than being like, okay, if high tech ends up being able to sustain itself long term, or that isn't, and then Luke is able to make something happen off the back of a DCA and takes it to that sort of level. Yeah, that's all well and good. Put your, once you've shown up with the car and turned a practice lap in your car and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, fair enough that you can't share cars, but at this stage where we're a developing nation in all this stuff, and then especially when you're talking that you only had limited amount of cars even from your own state competing, why would you restrict the show? You're going to kill your audience for the guys who have actually bothered to show up and pay money, and then as the drivers you just have a shit time, really. So
Yeah, so that was one thing. Like my biggest thing was the guys that drive 3,000 kilometers. They spend $3,500, nearly $4,000 to come up, and they break their car and they got told to go home. It's not. It's not. I know it's. I guess once again, from personal experience, if I was to break my car at DCR, I know I can borrow a car, and you still
Yeah.
get to have fun in a comp. You drive your car up here. Okay, it comes in a truck. You break your car as you go off the qualifying start line. You don't want your weekend to be over because you like skilled drivers can adapt to other cars.
Yeah, well, I know Nathan after he got bottom
3-0.
end. Yeah, after he got rod knock after practice, he was just like, "Oh, I saw him put on Facebook. I've got rod knock in the bottom end. I'm just gonna send it in qualifying." And I'm just like, "Yeah, fuck, please don't." Like, if I was a driver
He
up
did.
there, did he end up driving it? I thought he ended up buying a
kinda-
car before he broke it.
No, he is his all on the track, so he got told to put it away. But
Okay, so he didn't end up.
But
he didn't
yeah.
end up spitting a rod out the block or anything, though, did he?
no,
Okay,
No.
thank God, because I would have been like, as an official or as another driver or a club official like you, I would have been like, please don't, because it just doesn't look good and it's going to give us a crap load of downtime. Remember at Super Drift when Brad Tui put a rod out the block, and it's not like he travelled that far on the track, but man, we were down for like a good 45 minutes trying to clean that up. And yeah, fair enough, I can understand when you travelled that far that you want to put on a show and you want to keep driving, but yeah, shit, hope. Get the knee pads out. Hope somebody else will lend you a car and put yours away and don't upset everybody else. And also hopefully save yourself some coin when you get home for your engine rebuild. I can understand.
he's actually got another one. He's got another one getting rebuilt now for Brisbane. It was already getting rebuilt. So his good motor blew the weekend. So he went through some pretty hard times. So his motor, good motor, he pulled the box out to put his PPG gearbox in, pulled the motor down, found all the mesh from the breathers inside the heads all through the motor, from the oil catch can for the head breather, all through the motor. So he had to pull that down. Had to put a stock motor in. Snapped a water pump at JDMX Park the day the car was meant to leave. So he's had nothing but troubles, unfortunately. But yeah, but I was happy I didn't ride my motor. That was a good thing. I thought I did when all I could smell in the car was oil. I thought I'd ride mine, but it's all in one piece still.
Yeah. So have you pulled yours down this week, or haven't pulled it fully down
So
yet?
my motor's out. It's out of the car. I've got that out of the car last night. It's just sitting there waiting to get pulled down now. So
Yeah, fingers crossed. No big scores or anything silly down the bore, that it can all sort of come back together fairly quickly for you.
yeah, it'll be good. It'll be
That
good.
was
I've got.
That's the Sabo car.
Yeah, so that motor's lasted 3 years. 700 horsepower, stock bottom end. So.
And you're such a nice driver.
Well, I don't think he was any better, but yeah.
You're such a friendly guy to your cars. And then, while we're on the topic of your cars, the other car is still down in Adelaide getting fixed back up?
Yep, so the car got dropped off at Metal Crew a few weeks ago to get the rear tube rear end done. Just got to have a chat to him about which way we're going to go. Obviously, keep it simple as possible. There's no need to try and orchestrate anything. We're just going to try and keep it simple as possible.
Yeah, again, because you're so nice to your rear ends of your cars, you don't want to have to pay for new ones every few weeks.
Nah.
And then which car's going to head up? Are you doing round 3 and Cash Kings?
Luke already hit me up, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not this year. I've got a wedding to pay for in August next year in Toowoomba, so, and another motor to pay for now and fix my other car. So I might miss out. I might miss out on it this year, but I'm pretty keen to, if I can get some time off, go to World Time Attack to even just help someone out. So if Hemmings or someone get in, or Dale, go down and give him a hand or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, just experiencing a big event like that.
Yeah, World Time Attack, if you haven't, I guess it would be on the same level as your V8 supercar style event. A little less, I guess, show in some ways, but yeah, probably the next biggest thing to a V8 supercar event. Probably a bigger crowd in Sydney than they get to the V8s. They probably get at World Time Attack now, but if you can get down for that. And then we'll, depending on when Luke actually gets his shit together, and hopefully he's listening, but I doubt he is, and announces
he's a run, doesn't he?
and ends up announcing his summer series dates. Is that something you'll definitely be looking into, or sort of suss it out as it comes?
Yeah, well, I spoke to him about Mount Gambier already because there's a lot of people up and down and go, oh, I want to do Mount Gambier, I want to do Mount Gambier, and I seem to be the only one who actually goes
Shows up.
to get something again. So, and I asked Luke, and he reckons Mount Gambier will probably be around the same time next year it was this year. So that's February. So, but we're good to see what he does. If he can get it all wrapped up before like if he gets like 3 rounds or 4 rounds in before, say, July, I might be able to do them all. We'll see what happens. But yeah, we'll see what happens next year, or even if he does around 4 in August, maybe I'd sneak away to go do that after the wedding. So I don't know.
Honeymoon on the Gold Coast.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. No, that's it. But yeah, I said I've been to all the rounds so far this year, so it's been a fair effort to make Tassie. That was a massive drive, but I wouldn't not do it. I had probably one of the best trips I've done. It was just having fun. As I told EG before, just catch up with mates you don't always see. I guess it's always a good thing to catch up with people. And I always said that people you do the event with make the event. I've never been to high tech, so I won't. There's all this shit on the internet. I won't bag events out, but going to DCA, it's always a good vibe because of the people that go. I guess there's no bullshit. There's no tanny tantrums. There's nothing like that. There's no abuse.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I sort of found too. I had done a full season of high tech beforehand, but it was, Saturday nights on the figure eight. So it was almost like speedway or local speedway. You show up with your car, you do your race, you go home. You get to know everybody, but it's sort of, just on a name basis sort of thing, where then you start doing the interstate travel with guys. My first DCA round was, I met Stewie and Tom and all those guys on the boat to Tassie. And you're like, oh, these are guys who I've seen online, but now I'm sitting here having dinner with them, and, this isn't how I expected the trip to start. But I think High Tech's starting to get a bit of that sort of community going now that they are, on the road with the series. Because I think Drift Australia and ADGP probably used to be like that. But I guess DCA does have the few added extras like the announcement party for qualifying and all those sort of things where they force you into the culture, into the group. And I don't think there's anything much cooler than that, really. Like standing in Mount Gambier Hotel with everybody sort of pushed into that back room to be able to listen to where they qualified or whether or not they actually did qualify. That really is what makes it that little bit special.
Yeah, so that's something this year we spoke about. Obviously, Dale comes up and has a chat when he comes up, and you always listen to him because, obviously, as I say, I reckon he's probably one of the best drivers in Australia at the moment. But yeah, he even said the same thing with us. Like, we have our after parties at the track, and obviously it gets pretty loose, but there's only like 6 people there. It's not the camaraderie you get where you go to a pub on a Friday or a Saturday night. Like, we were talking about having qualifying Friday afternoon, having comp Saturday, finishing at 6 or 7, then going to the pub afterwards and having a meal, drinks with everyone, not just 3 or 4 people you hang out with. And then the Southerners go back to the hotel and then they go out and we stay there and that kind of stuff. And it's something that we'll work on with. Obviously, I can't bring every idea from TCA, but I try and bring as many as I can because it is such a good platform to work an event off.
But like the more you speak about it, the more it sort of clicks to me that it's a great way to try and get series sponsors and stuff involved too, because as soon as you sort of get wrapped up in that culture, whether you're driving or there is just support crew or a volunteer as part of the series, you sort of get wrapped up in that culture and you're sort of trying to suss out where everybody's going for dinner, trying to find out where people are going to be hanging out. I guess in some ways it's almost like being back to being a young teenager again or something like that, looking for, where's the party happening or whatever, when we're also busy working with responsibilities and broken race cars to pay for. But you sort of get that escape with it to be able to go and enjoy yourself. So no, it's cool that you're trying to do it up there. And yeah, I guess the Invitational itself is one of the few events in the country that like it. And, it's the furthest place you can, I guess you can really go. I don't think you can go much further. Perth is far for us, but I would say WA is just as far and a lot less between here and there to get up to Northern Territory.
Yeah. But yeah, so next year obviously we're going to try and open events up a lot earlier and try and get it out there a bit more. But we can't, as a club, can't offer the world. But I guess I was talking to EG before about trying to get maybe larger prize money up and see if people come for that. I guess like you look at Luke's Cash Kings, everyone wants to do that. Like his 32 field fills out pretty quickly. So even trying to get $6,000 as prize money for the first or something like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess for me it probably wouldn't be a prize money thing because I'm shit. But if but realistically, if you had a series sponsor or somebody like that who was willing to put in a good amount, the best bet would be to sort of handpick some dudes from around the country and sort of subsidize their travel up or something like that, and just try and get more people to come, because then as soon as, again, it's that sort of whole build a culture thing where, oh, so and so's going up, oh, I kind of want to go up now. Oh, he said that was cool. Oh, I want to go up now because it's cool. And I think it just flows on more from there than, oh, if I drive 2 days up and 2 days back, there's a chance I might win some money. Like for me, yeah, being,
Yeah,
a barely a top 16 driver, it's, not something that would be incentive. But to say, oh, we've helped organise a truck from Sydney, all you've got to do is organise your flights and it's going to cost you, say $500, $750 for the truck, and then you work out the rest yourself, would be more incentive for me to go and drive a track that I wouldn't normally think about making the travel to go and do.
So yeah, our club already gives drivers, like this year we gave drivers $500 already. Yeah. So we've done that. We've done that ever since it started. And I guess it's kind of something we've always thought, well, why do we have to? But it's something we've kept going and kept doing. And the incentive part is a good thing. And I guess like we talked to the guys in Vic, and I guess they got their whole Vic drift thing. I can understand that. Like you talk to Chunga and you talk to him, but he goes, yeah, I'll tell everyone, and doesn't leave his mouth.
Yeah.
Because they're so caught up in obviously their Vic drift, which is cool. They've got a massive following with that Vic drift thing. It's huge. But I've done around there before, and the party atmosphere is actually pretty cool. Like they do a very good event.
Yeah, but I don't think there's a one-off comp in somewhere like Darwin is not going to impact or hurt a series like a Vic drift. Like reality is they're so far away from each other that they're not really going to hurt each other. And the handful of guys who can actually, even if it even is going to be a handful of guys, but even if it was a truck, say, that carries 8 cars and it picked up 4 from Melbourne and grabbed 4 more on its way through from Canberra or Sydney and then rolled its way through, it's fairly realistic where, you're never going to get more than 8 or 10 cars come from one state realistically, because there's just not that many people who can actually commit to that sort of thing. Maybe you need to get it running alongside Luke as some sort of, he can give out a free entry or something to something if somebody wins the event, or considering he's got all these other things going with other people.
Yeah. So you talk about commitment. That's the biggest thing. Like we had 2 trucks nearly lined up for SA drivers, and by the end of it, they had 5. Commitment's a massive thing, and for people to actually put their money on the table is a massive thing as well. Like, so that's the plan next year, I guess. Talk with other clubs and find out when their events are. Unfortunately, our dates are kind of, the track is used so much by so many people up in Darwin. The dates go so fast because it's all in one complex. So we can't run the same time the drags do because they use the main straight to come back. So it's virtually, at the end of the year, everyone sits down and goes the dates they want. And if you can get in quick enough, you get the dates you want. If you don't, you kind of get shoveled with dates. So like this year, it sucked, obviously, because High Tech was the week before. So like Aaron Dwyer and all them that were pretty keen to come up couldn't come up because they obviously were committed with High Tech. So I guess just trying to find when events down south aren't on, just to make it easier. I know you're saying that people that will come up, but even just being able to make it a broader people that could come up.
Yeah, so you have gaps between events, so then that way anyone can kind of attend any event they wanted to, if that kind of makes sense. Like if they're, so I mean, like being Queensland and SA, like, they're so far apart, it doesn't really matter. But like if you want to go to that event in that state, you want to make it so the weekends are sort of separated, so you can actually have time between sort of each thing to get to places, and you don't want to collide and sort of take all the drivers to one area kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's it. You don't want. Yeah.
You always run it in. You always run it in winter, though, right? That event.
What's winter?
Yeah, I know. Okay, in your
he was telling me at night it was like 19 degrees.
Yeah. Okay, in your dry season.
Yeah.
In the middle of the year.
Yeah, we try to run in the dry season because it is the best time. Like poor Hemmings last year, freaking on Friday, he nearly died. The poor bugger. It was so hot. But Saturday, because obviously we do our events at night, so the nighter they get, it got cooler. But last year was a little bit later, so unfortunately, it was a lot hotter. This year was good. Like it was nice and cool even during the day. It was warm, but there's no humidity at the moment, so it makes it bearable.
Yeah, so if you guys were to keep it at that time, and Luke was to move DCO over to a summer series anyway, you've eliminated that sort of date clash situation. Plus, if people aren't taking a full proper off season, which most people don't, everybody's car's in constant development anyway. A lot of those guys would potentially be able to commit to that sort of event if they know it's on, because it is between their seasons. And for the guys who have qualified world time attack spots and all that, it's a big enough distance that it's a nice big lead-in event into that sort of event, but plenty of downtime to get cars back up in shape, ready for it. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see last round and see how that goes, and obviously Cash Kings and unfortunately the double up of events. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, look, I don't think, looking at online, I don't think either event on that one's gonna to struggle too badly. The one that's put their date on at the same time as the date that was already announced won't get any less than they have to their previous rounds. And from speaking to Luke, I think he's already up past or around his 32, past the 32 drivers. He's just wanting, if there's a few guys that did well last year, I think, that haven't done their entries yet. Looking at Blake, if Blake bothers to listen to this, to make sure that those guys. I know
it's everything.
When
Drifter's always last minute.
But when you're trying to put on an event like that and you want to do some announcements of drivers, it's a bit hard to lock in your 32.
Especially the reigning champion of Cash Kings.
Yeah,
he should be entering.
You would hope so.
He's all cashed up already. He doesn't need any more.
We always comment on this one. We won't comment on it too much more. We gave him shit about it the other day while we were playing a Assetto Corsa. So,
I think, he always gets brought up anyway, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, he gave all his money to a girl, so maybe this year he won't have. No, I think he's just found a new one. So say good. He's going to go up and win his 10 grand and dump it on a girl again. I did offer to pay his entry and then just take 50% of whatever he wins, but he wasn't down for that. So
yeah,
are you gonna travel down to watch at all, or are you just gonna sitting that out?
I'll see how I go. It's trying to play it by ear at the moment, but I've got a car I probably could borrow, but yeah, I'll see how I go. Tristan lives in Bundaberg now, so I've probably got a car I can borrow. It's if I got time to off work or not. That's the main thing.
Yeah, fair enough. Don't you work for yourself or your parents or something?
No, myself, but just work's busy at the moment, so I got to keep. You can work, you got to work and play. You got to have kind of both. You can't just disappear all year, as much as I'd love to. But.
I know the feeling.
But so hopefully take the motor to my mechanic on Friday or next week, and we'll pull it down. I was talking to Sabo about it today. The heads on it, $5,000 with the heads, so hopefully they're not damaged. So.
Wow.
Well, what did it end up doing? So it's just lost compression, or?
I filled the entire 6 out of 8 chambers with oil and straight out the exhaust. So my entire exhaust is full of oil. There's no oil in the catch can. That's surprising. So it's probably a bit on a ring gland, but we'll have a look and we'll pull it apart.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's just something in the bottom end and you haven't done any head damage, and then that shouldn't be too painful anyway.
it makes loud knock knock noises. I know that much.
Yeah, but if it's
Yeah,
just the bottom end,
it-
that's...
Is it normal for it to fill that many cylinders of oil?
I wouldn't think so.
The weird
Yeah.
thing was, I was mid drift and like, on it, and it just turned off. I was like, but I was like, that's not good. And all I could smell was oil. So I thought it had actually rotted out, but got back to the pits. There was no oil on the ground, nothing, and so it was. Yeah, so I pulled it out pretty quickly, so I get some time to pull it apart because our next event's in 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
So I'll see what happens. If not, I'll just use the chaser in my driveway.
Do you know how to drive a not V8? Or has it got a V8?
Yeah,
too?
I drove. So I broke the car Friday. Drove Tristan's
Oh.
JZX 100 on Saturday. That broke. It blew a
Then you-
hole in the diff.
Do you drive an SR20? Was it an RB?
Then I borrowed Frenchie's Monster RB.
Okay.
It's like an RB 26 or 27.
Yeah.
S13, and fortunately, I got nothing against people, but I was speaking to the owner, and Frenchie's like, "Do it in 4th gear." I was like, "All right, cool." And he's like, "Just feed it to it." So I rolled up the line, took off, and I thought Dale was gonna be a lot quicker than he was. I left it in 4th, just did the usual thing, and threw it and went, "Huh,
Ugh.
no power here."
Yeah.
Yeah, so back to 3rd and off it went. But no, my lead run was good. And then everyone's like, "Oh, your lead run, you look like you've driven the car for 10 years. I was like, "Yeah, well, I dictated the speed, so I was all right."
Yeah.
But I've got nothing against anyone. No, Dale is you got to do what you got to do. You got to drive to the lead car. So, but yeah, no, it was still a good weekend. Like, it was still a bunch of fun with a bunch of mates, catch up with people from down south. I guess it's the same kind of vibe, I guess, as DCA, just without the 40, 60, 50 drivers at Rock Up.
Yeah. I think I saw your runs, and the lead was it was pretty good. And Chase, I had a feeling that that's potentially something like that was what
Yes.
went down. It was just way outside its power band because I know Dale is fairly conservative on most of his entries. He's pretty calculated with his speed, and he's normally he always hits it exactly the same every single time. So doesn't go too crazy with throwing into staying flat the whole way, because that way if he's ended up launching it harder than he had the previous run, he's sort of always on that same speed. So I guess when you're used to your V8 where you can put it in 5th and just drive it the whole way.
Only got 4 gears now.
No,
so
I
that
know.
was
You put it in the second
he
overdrive
did that
gear.
against. He did that against Pryor. It went fair on Pryor's door and entry and went straight past the back bar into the kid litter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It
just
need a better spotter, mate.
I'm not spotting him. Vitali can do that one, not me.
No, I meant you
I'll
need a
just
better
tell him
spotter to keep checks on people's speeds.
Yeah, I guess I said, I just kind of got in French's car and I'll see how I go. And obviously, if the problem is I didn't even like what we're trying to bring in next year too is if you borrow a car, be able to do a practice lap in it. Like, I didn't do any laps beforehand. That was virtually to the line and go on.
Oh.
Yeah.
So getting
you
advice from the owner who.
Do you let people skid the rest of the track leading into that, or when you're running an event like that, you're only allowed to skid the section of the track that's sort of under comp conditions?
Virtually skid the section. And there's a warm up box.
Yeah.
And you skid the section.
Okay.
And it didn't help that Frenchie's car was pouring smoke out the back on idle, and I didn't want to break it. So typical RB thing.
The 3rd car.
So what, you need to just basically, EG's R32 just needs to travel to every event in the country and just be everybody's bitch at those competitions.
Well, it
Get it fixed,
survived
mate.
both, so it must be all right.
Survive Blake not doing a practice lap in it.
Oh, Steve crashed it as well. And
Yeah.
then I gave it to Rob, and then he broke the suspension. And he still drove back on the trailer, though.
Yeah, that poor little
I just
slutty
go.
car.
First time in 5 years ago to tow a car on the car trailer.
Yeah, I've known that feeling lately.
That's every event, isn't it?
It's our life. That's our life.
Hey, we might be good
You
this
should just
weekend.
get that
though.
too, Jay.
No, I've still got the 2J. It's just in pieces. No, we might be good this weekend. We should be good this weekend. Fuck.
What do you got on this weekend?
Just a practice day down at Wakefield Park, but there's a lot of good sort of local drivers driving that event, so And that dickhead who made that commentary video from High Tech is going to be there.
First event.
So we'll see what he has to say about my driving. Yeah, that one.
The EG guy. The EG guy.
Yeah.
The one who's too mean to people.
Yeah, that one. So he'll probably rip half my rear bar off again like he did the last time we were at Wakefield. And
no, I want to leave some sort of mark on your door.
You are allowed to, sir. If my car runs for more than half a day, you are allowed to leave as many marks on it as you like.
He'll tell me. He'll make sure his car doesn't run for half a day now.
I am totally down. No, I'll be laughing if I have a good day. I'll be more than happy for you to put some marks on it. So.
But like Greg, if their dates they're all organising for next year, like the worst thing is trying to find someone each state to go to try and organise people in that state. Like we've got guys in Perth. That's no worries. Obviously SA, we talked to Graham and Dale, and I know a lot of people in SA obviously, but like even Luke was keen to come up this year. Unfortunately, one of his events that he had at Archfield fell on the same weekend. But to try and, I guess, go to each person in a state to go, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. This is what's on the line. This is what the entry is. This is when it is. This is how much money we're giving for travel money and stuff. Trying to find, I guess, someone in each state to try and talk to about it who can go back to their state and just talk to people about it.
Yeah, look,
we
there's
kind of have a working group in New South Wales.
Yeah, and then if you can find sort of the heads of your groups as well, and yeah, we could definitely help you out down here. But like there's the sort of the group of guys who are fairly heavily into the high tech stuff, and if you even gain the attention of a couple of them, that group would potentially go, or at least a couple of them would go. I know that there would be potential of a few others who would definitely be interested in it, with the sort of not the right approach, but being invited per se, formally. For some reason, I don't know why people jizz all over themselves when they get a formal invitation to things. Like they're super special, but yeah, for some reason people love getting these formal invites and stuff like that.
It makes you feel good, Greg.
Yeah, but like I don't know. It's like if you want to go, hit up the dudes and be like, guys, I really want to come up and skid your track. Your event looks sick. Like, did you end up doing 2 days or 3 days? Last year was 3 days, right?
2.
Was this year?
Nah, 2 days.
Just Friday, Saturday?
It was 2 days. Friday, Saturday. Sunday is just the pack up day. Or mostly pick everyone's car that we'll do hungover from Saturday night.
Yeah, that's fair enough then.
I know one of the guys didn't pick his car up till Monday.
That was a big weekend.
Yep. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, I guess it's just trying to, yeah, the formal invite thing's no worries, but being able to go to someone each day and be like, all right, who do you think would come? If you go, oh, these people, then we can go, all right, cool. But I know Bo Yates and stuff, I ask all the time. They go, oh, yeah, we have other commitments, like last weekend we were in high tech, obviously, because that's where his sponsors want him to go.
Yep.
And I guess I tried to get, well, we're in the process, nothing against the club, we're trying to get, obviously we didn't get the money enough for it because we didn't have enough entries, but if we had 32 cars, we were gonna fly a racing line up to do a full event coverage of the event, and stuff like that. And one of my sister's partner did a small, quick snippet of the event on Saturday. He was there for like 2 or 3 hours, and everyone's like shared the video, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so cool!" Like just being able to throw a video in there and show how professional the event is will catch the eye of a lot of people that want to come up.
Well, and I think this is something I spoke to Luke about fairly recently, and again, buddy Luke and your bloody stupid deaf ears. When you're trying to push for those entries, that video should start to recirculate, or a new one with entry details should start to recirculate 4 weeks before your closing dates or something like that. Because I think that's what ends up amping up drivers and all that sort of stuff. When you'll have a whole bunch of guys who have seen the stuff that you guys did last weekend and go, I really want to go. And then next year, when at the same time that the event has happened and is over, the same group of people will be like, shit, I really want to go next year.
Yeah, that's it, and that's what my kind of the video was for as well, to use for next year, and even use it the V8s. Like the V8s have got their rolling advertising on all the screens.
Yeah,
have that up there, and just being able to actually have it in a file you can use for whenever you want. is a lot better than going, oh, I wish we had a file we could put up and make a video of.
Yeah.
Like YouTube videos, yeah, okay, you got YouTube videos of people driving and stuff like that, that's cool. But one's actually done like what Racing Line does. It actually is in your face and it makes you catch your attention.
Yeah,
and look, that's my argument for any sort of drift video. Like, yeah, cool, your montage videos are great, and if I've driven the event, yeah, cool, I get to watch a few clips of my car if I make it into it. But the reality is, if I'm going to sit and watch a decent length drift video, even a 10-minute montage for me is too long. Unless it's done like Racing Line does, something fancy with the cool surround sound stuff and all of that. Even Racing Line guys, the Racing Line guys keep most of their montages to like 3 minutes maybe, because they know that that's their impact zone. But when you do something more where you find out the drama in the background or what the battles actually were, you'll follow it, because it's like, all right, let's see what happened in the next battle. Let's see what happened in the next battle. Oh, why is that car out? Why is that whatever? Even watching High-Tech's delayed live stream, it's almost too fast paced. From like, I didn't understand why, how they got to where they got before the battles even started. Because it was.
I think the issue was that I didn't like how it was sort of jumping between pro and pro-am. Like, I think they should have left it sort of like the first half pro-am and the second half pro. Because
but I think
people
that's
got
fine
confused.
though. But explain it. Like, there just wasn't enough explanation, and I don't blame the two boys who were commentating for it. It was a production sort of issue where those opportunities weren't sort of given to them, and it was all pumping out so quickly that, yeah, you'd see the battle, but you still didn't understand why they were at that point, or why there was, I think, 20 cars or something entered in Pro-Am or something like that, and we only saw a top 8 or that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, like that stuff feels rushed for me, and I want to know what the whole sort of thing is, and that's what you get from a Street Outlaws and a V8 Supercars, is you get a lot more of that background on that stuff. And yeah, for an event like your Tita Invitational, you're not going to get all of that. But for your bigger ones, like your Cash Kings, that's what I'm hoping Luke's going to have the Racing Line guys trying to do for Cash Kings. Because, yeah, there are those little backstories that make it that little bit more exciting. And as Mitch said earlier, it's the people you get to know, and you know the background. And like, I know you had dramas down in Tassie, and Tom had dramas down in Tassie, changing diffs and then getting back out on track. But unless you sort of friends with these people on Facebook, or the story makes it to you, you don't know what actually happened. But that stuff's cool as hell.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing with, like, I guess, Drift Masters. Like, people you know, like Jake Jones, mate, and all that stuff, going there, not knowing anything about the comp till it's finished. You're like, oh, what happened? Like,
yeah,
there was nothing said about it, and like that. Like, I can understand it's their first event, but an event they're trying to do at such a high caliber, surely you would have had a live stream there or something done with updates, or even updates on their page of who went through to what. Like, it was kind of like, and that's why I came with the whole video thing. Like, people down south who like, oh, Invitational's on, yep, my mate's in Darwin. The event starts, the event finishes, you know nothing from start to finish.
Yeah. Was the guy doing the the little video from his phone one of the Tita guys?
One of the one of the guys that lives in Darwin, yeah.
Yeah, he ended up. Was surprised. Like, I started watching from top 16, and I was surprised that he ended up. I think he streamed the whole thing pretty much the whole way through, and it's pretty impressed that he actually stuck through with that. But even something as basic as that is enough from a low budget production point of view, similar to what EG sort of tried to set up at one of the rounds of Super Drift, and I guess he did at Mount Gambier as well, where it's self-sustaining. You sort of set it up, it sort of takes care of itself. Because I wouldn't say that's say a High-Tech live stream that they put up is any more value in a lot of ways than the sort of live stream EG had going. Like, you can follow it. You get your basic information. That's it. Like, it's high res, whatever. Like, yeah, if you're following the story, the resolution doesn't make that much of a difference, unless you're talking like 480p or 240p or whatever, and it's you're looking at it like it's a fucking potato. But
Potato.
look,
I can't. I don't have money for cameras, so I was just using whatever I had.
No, you were using webcams, but you were still enough to follow it fairly well.
Yeah.
But like this, like height, like we did Cash Kings. Like my parents are in Canada and they were watching Cash Kings.
Yeah, when some of
Cool.
our fat heads weren't in the way.
Like, yeah. That's, I mean, it's just people want to be able to watch people that go like, okay, it's just me, but like people's family want to watch. If they can watch something, it's gonna be a lot better than. And like, yeah, okay, people need to go to the event. I think that's what Drift Masters might have been trying to do, get people to actually go to the event. That's fair enough. But people with mates that live over like in different states still want to see how people go. Like Jake Thornberry, like broke his car, but we didn't know anything about it until he put something on.
Yeah.
Like just being able to update the event a lot more, I guess.
Yeah, I think a dedicated social media person for any series or any sort of event now is needs to become a bit more of a standard thing. That's sort of what I've put my hand up to come up and try and do for Luke for Cash Kings. It's what I want to put my time and energy into while I'm up there, because yeah, like so much is lost really quickly. And yeah, like you're not going to get all the information there. When you're talking 32 cars, there's so much happening so quickly. But just to have those little snippets of information, or if somebody chucks a comment up being like, hey, we haven't seen Mitch Doyle drive today, what's happened? And that somebody can go and find you and you're laying under your car covered in gearbox oil or something, but somebody can chuck up online and reply to that. I don't know, it draws more attention to the series, and I think that's any series that's wanting to gain some sort of sponsorship just needs to have a presence, where I think a lot end up with less presence than what they think they deserve because they're not putting themselves out there to get that presence. So does the Northern Territory government do any sort of incentive stuff? Like the Tassie government used to do their incentive programs to try and help bring cars and stuff over for DCA events and other motorsport events. Does the Northern Territory do anything similar to that?
Yeah, so Motorsports NT have got 10 grand for a grant, which we got access to, which that's fine. This year, I think we kind of left it this year, I think, mainly because of the entry level numbers. So if you've got more entries, the government look at it a lot better. Like, yeah. I believe there's actually a massive grant from the NT government if you want to bring international people over, like massive amounts of money if you're going to do a national or international event, I guess. Which, hey, we got a track to do it, but we're not big enough, anywhere near big enough yet to do that. So, but yeah, just I guess we just want to go forward. We don't want to go backwards is the main thing. And new, fresh ideas are always good. And I was talking to AG before about hopefully trying to get some guys down to Mount Gambier, like being able to see what ideas I bring back in person.
Yeah. Yeah, even if
There's
it's
so
not
many people.
Yeah, even if they're not necessarily driving, but at least get somewhere to spectate an event or be your pit crew or throw their hand up to wave flags or whatever on one of the corners. It's enough to get you caught up in it.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see why people bring these ideas back. They're not just there to make their event all about the person giving the ideas. It's trying to make the event better. And a lot of people are against the whole swapping cars rule, and then they saw it happen, and they're like, "Oh, I can totally understand why you do it." Like,
yeah,
the clipping points part.
Yeah, and I'm sure when you've come back, it's there a few guys thinking that you're trying to be controlling or whatever, but when it's hard because your head, I guess, sticks out further because you're the one who's been out there and doing more recently with sort of Australian drifting used to be so formal. With Drift Australia, it all started so formal, and now has become a little bit more. Oh, let's go back to where we should have started with a little bit more development and just getting seat time and getting guys out driving. But now you've got to try and change the attitudes of the people who aren't even at the top anymore, but sort of in that middle section that are your state organisations to be like, oh, there's development that needs to be done. So I guess as long as you keep pushing and the sort of pushback that you get from your guys isn't too bad and you're able to sort of sway them in that direction, and it's not going to happen overnight, but as long as you're able to keep pushing, it's going to be a good thing. awkward silence.
I thought he was going to talk then, but he didn't. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, just I guess trying to make the club not so formal which we already are. We're not a massive formal club already. Like, I think we're a pretty laid back club. We all love to have a beer and chat around after an event and everything like that. But I guess that's why when I come down and I don't get so high in the top 16, I don't really care all the time sometimes, because it's just about having some fun with your mates. And yeah, I guess one day I'll get over that and actually want to try and win. But anyway,
Yeah, I was speaking to Troy a little bit today, because we want to try and get him on around round 3, and I told him that I liked what he was doing with his social media, and he's like, "Oh, I'm hoping to do well up at round 3 because he's pretty close to being in the top part of the championship and all that." And I said, "Dude, like, just literally go drive and the rest takes care of itself. Like, it's not one of those sports where you can, prepare this routine or prepare a new trick or whatever. Like, you can literally just go drive and, dot your T's and cross your T's and dot your I's before you go up in regards to car maintenance and all that sort of stuff. But the rest of it sort of, you can only do what you can do unless you drop a fat load of cash under EG's desk. And even then, it's probably got to be a substantial amount. You can't guarantee. You can't guarantee anything,
he'll just
really.
take it and run.
and then leave your negative feedback. What's your dollar amount, EG?
Troy will be Troy will be fine. He just needs to stop swearing in his videos. Be all right. Far out.
Nah, that's all right.
Like I watch Jake Jones. I'm mate with Jake, and I watch his when he gets a new video. I watch all the time, and yeah, a lot more professional than Lippy giving a bit of a swear word here and there, and I can do that. I'm not a person to sit in front of a camera, but I also don't have time. I take like my $600 camera, like my 360 camera. I don't even use the damn thing. I keep forgetting about it.
Which is funny because you sit here and speak really well though, so you'd probably actually be okay with it. But it's just awkward when you got to hold the camera yourself.
Yeah. Well, as one of the commentators said in Darwin, all the torque comes from the driver, not my car. So.
Sorry, out.
He got me good on that one.
Yeah. Okay. Just just addressing one of the comments that come up in the stream about the track at Hidden Valley. So winding back a little bit because the comment was a little while ago. So Jake's asked what's happening with the go-kart track that's next to the main track. Is that something that you've tried to access, or is it?
So yeah, we have, and they've all said no. It's virtually run by the go-karts for the go-karts. Full stop. That's it. Done and dusted. We've tried a few times to ask, and they just blatantly say no. Their first excuse was the track wouldn't hold up to the weight of the cars, which we then found out isn't true. But yeah, it's contracted for the go-karts, and that's all it'll ever be used for.
Is that privately owned, or is it government owned as well?
No, it's government owned, but I think the go-kart people run it. Like, it's rented to them, and they run it.
Oh, like a lease.
Such.
Just find out when their lease is up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. But yeah, they kind of say we've got our track, and that's their track because there's nowhere else to do it in Darwin. That's the only track for go-karts.
Fair enough. Then I can sort of understand their reluctance to some of it.
And it's pretty tight. Like, it's probably a little bit too tight. Some corners you do 2 go-karts, but that's about it.
They're
pretty small.
It reminds me of some of the early sort of drift courses that I had in Japan. So it looks like you might get 2 cars side by side next to each other, like on the track at the same time, but that's about it. I think if you separate a little bit, you'll be off the track.
Yeah, you'd be straight lining like Connor Shanahan did in his chase run, but anyway.
Shots fired.
Jake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in Darwin bringing up that. Oh, but look how straight he is. It's shit. But you couldn't fit 2 cars sideways in there. Wouldn't work.
Yeah, he was aggressive and he got rewarded for aggression. And as EG always says, if we're not in driver's briefing and hear exactly what's been asked of the drivers, then it's hard to pass total judgment on on what actually played out. You can put speculation and go towards what other series that you're part of might actually call it as, but even somebody who maybe watched, even maybe somebody who watched a series like FD 2 or 3 years ago and hasn't watched it since, and then has come back now, would see a car drop a wheel and expect that driver to automatically lose and all this sort of stuff. But all their rules and regs have changed a lot since that time. So yeah, if you're not in driver's briefing or understanding that, at an event like World Time Attack where what was said in driver's briefing ended up going completely out the window, you really don't know what's expected of the drivers, and I think sometimes even the drivers don't know what's expected of the drivers. So one step at a time, I guess.
Talking about that, I think FD Japan did a live stream of their briefing.
Did they?
Yeah.
Normally the FD drivers briefings are like pretty closed off event.
Yeah, but I think they actually did a explanation. I'm not sure because I didn't actually watch the video. I just saw the stream come up and they're in the briefing and they're standing in the room with the circuit layout, I guess. But I don't know. That could be just a safety sort of briefing, but it could have also gone through the criteria of the course.
Yeah, maybe. And Ryan Lontaine, their head judge, I guess, is becoming. He wants to be more and more transparent with everything that they do. So I think the big reluctance sometimes to wanting to stream any driver's briefing at any event is that when the drivers start to ask questions, it's not necessarily always good for the public to see what drivers are asking, because then if stuff transpires off the back of comments that are made in there, then it just becomes a little bit of a shit show. I think it's okay for when the actual proper judges' instructions are being spoken about, but when it comes to sort of the question time and the clarifications from what drivers are and aren't understanding, it's probably best that the public isn't necessarily seeing it, because I know sometimes drivers put their hands up and either ask really dumb questions because they haven't paid attention, or sort of will take a stab at somebody else's driving from a previous event and little bits and pieces like that. So yeah, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. We videoed our drivers briefing at the last round of Super Drift, and it also gave us a whole bunch of information to throw back at a few drivers' faces who complained about certain things and then asked questions about it and then claimed that they didn't know, and then we had on video that they were the one who asked a question about it. So do you get guys like that up there, Mitch?
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunately, every group has them, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
So where have you actually driven? I know one of the cars lives down in South Australia. So what tracks around the country have you actually hit?
So I've done obviously Darwin, Malla, Taylor and Bend, the old one.
Yeah.
Archerfield and Simmons Plains.
Okay. I thought you had travelled a little bit more than that, but you've just done a bit of time down in SA.
You
said you done.
And Calder Park.
Yeah.
And Calder Park.
Dome and main circuit.
No, just Dome. I've done main circuit yet.
Okay. And then what's the plan? So are you going to continue to run the two cars, leave one in Darwin, and do one for the rest of Australia, or what's the plan moving forward?
Yeah. So I'll fix the other car, get it all back together again, and this one obviously back together again. And I've been invited to an event in WA, which they like to do round robin. They do all round robin comps over there now for one of their series, which is I think it's quite a good idea. You all get track time. You all get for your money's worth. You all get your money's worth for driving. If you know what I mean. If you lose your first battle, oh well, you got another 20 to go or something like that, another 15 to go. So I've been invited to that. I will see how I go. It's something I would like to, but it probably won't happen only because of the money side of things. But I was meant to go to WA a few years ago for their comp. They had that $10,000 prize money, where it was the massive prize money. They had like They had like Pro Series. They had a Pro pro and a non-pro event, and they had like massive amount of prize money. I was meant to go, but Tristan did. One of our mates went, and I ended up not having the car finished in time. So
How many day drive is that for you to Perth? Or would you send the SA
probably
car over?
3. Nah, well, it depends. If SA guys got invited, I might tag on the back of his truck. Or yeah, and then we're trying to sort something out at the moment. If we can find someone that does that route and take a few of us over.
Yeah.
But like I said, being in Darwin, it's not the closest to anything.
No, it's definitely not. That's why I questioned that. I would imagine that the SA car would almost be closer in geography, right?
Yeah, it is.
Did you want to take your car over, or would you be happy to take a sponsored or like a hire car in Perth already?
I'm keen for hire cars. I just don't like damaging people's cars.
Do you feel like you have to
pay
hold
to
back?
fix it? With my car, I could. Well, yeah. If you break it, you got to pay to get it fixed. If I break my car, I fix it whenever I want. I've been offered a few cars already, but I'll see what happens. I may, there's a few cars like LS, Wisefab, stuff like that. It's probably the same as my car, but yeah, it's just I'll see how much they want first. Like if it's going to be just as much to drive my car over there, well, I'll take my car. But
You've never had any big crashes though that haven't involved walls at somewhere like a Mount Gambier or Calder Park though, or an Archie. Like none of your accidents have been cut.
Mount Gambier, I snapped my call over this year.
Yeah, I know. I was
Came out of the car.
a car and a half length behind you when you did it and plowed backwards into the wall.
Right.
But other than that, like I don't think you've really done much.
Nah.
You're normally pretty good with car damage. Like I know you had when we battled each other last year. I drove like a pleb in front of you and spun in the state round, and then you lost your uni on the steering column.
Fucking Spencer.
But I don't think I've ever seen you plow your car into the side of somebody. So borrowing a car at somewhere like Barbagallo is probably pretty safe for somebody like you. You don't drive like a dickhead. It just tends to be walls get the best of you when they're there.
And Luke still says I can't drive without walls, but anyway.
You did pretty good at
shit, Tassie, for that.
I thought you did pretty good at Archie last year. I don't think you dragged the front of the car into the wall at all when you're dragging the wall.
No, that's what it means I drive really well when there's walls around.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. So you just need it.
But no,
need you to ask Luke for a wall next year at Simmons Plains.
But no, I'd love to do Archie again. I had tons of fun there. But we'll just have to see, obviously, money side of things, and if my car's finished. If my car's finished, it doesn't actually cost me too much to get it up there because you got to remember tires and stuff in every other state, but Darwin are cheap. Like good tires like Ken and stuff, you pay $130 a tire up here.
130, yeah, Jesus.
For a Kenda, yeah, and so if you got high flyers in Sydney,
yeah.
So if you don't go through someone to buy lots of them, you pay $110 a tire.
Yeah, shit. No wonder you don't have that many guys with dedicated cars up there.
Yeah. So unless you go through like one of our, I've actually got a tyre sponsor now, Flash Tyres, who's actually looking after me for the year, which is good until I went, there goes my motor. So hopefully I can fix it so I can actually use it for the year. So.
Yeah, it's pointless having a tyre sponsor when your shit's always broken, as in me last year. Hey, this is your budget of tyres for the year. Oh yeah, that's cool. I used a quarter of it, and yeah, because my shit was always broken. And I'm sure you're feeling the same with that now.
Oh no, I'll be right. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're so happy. You're so you still got a smile on your face." I'm like, "Oh, shit happens. It's going to happen now." I'm actually rather happy where it did than it did at Tassie. Like, I'd rather have it here than all the way down there.
Yeah, at least it's somewhere you've driven a bunch of times before, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not that disappointed." Where you've trekked basically the whole way across the country to go drive somewhere you want to actually make the most of it.
Yeah, that's it. But,
yeah, so
I just try and push the car on the boat.
Yeah, I did that last year.
I think that's one of the biggest things that people are nervous about when they go to Darwin, I guess. If they take their own car and they get there and their car breaks, then if you have a rule in place where you can't swap cars, and that's probably one thing that they see as like a risk. And then you spent, I don't know how much it costs to get up there, but you spend that much money, everything else associated costs, and then your car breaks straight away and you can't drive, and that's your weekend over. And that's probably, along with a few other things, it's probably one of the biggest fears I guess people have if they have to travel that far.
Yeah. But trust me, it's a thing. I went to Tassie and I ordered spares for my wires fab and they didn't rock up in time. I got there and I had a bent tie rod. So Stewie to the rescue made this weird, funky tie rod arm which worked, but it obviously car felt different. But adapted to it, that's no worries. But that's probably the furthest I've ever been out of my comfort zone, trying to drive on a track where it's 0 degrees and your front tyres are stone cold every time you go out.
Bloody EG. Let's blame him. That's why it's cold down there, because he's got no heart. I forgot what my question was going to be. It's gone.
That's weird. I think you talked so much in this episode compared to. Actually, it wasn't that bad, the other one. But yeah, it seems like you've got a talking quota you have to get to. You've spoken so much.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I think what Doyle's got going on up there, and the fact that he is doing such big travel with that commitment, that I'm glad that it sounds like people up there are actually listening to his point of view and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's somewhere I really want to get up to at some stage. It's somewhere I used to thrash on R Factor all the time when I was on the simulator driving heaps before I was actually driving properly. I loved going to.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool when we get the guys down from NT down to Mount Gambier. I think it'd be awesome just to see their reaction actually driving as well, because it'd be so different to Hidden Valley.
With 15 cars behind them.
Yes.
Yeah,
that too.
I can't. The first thing, the first amazement was at Calder Park qualifying with the passenger seat, with the passenger in the passenger seat. That was the first whoa moment of being out of Darwin.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I love Mount Gambier. It's got such a good vibe. The environments, like the scenery, is amazing, and it's kind of like I don't know how to describe it. It's not a Matsuri, but it's super fun. It's so enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's like going to a family picnic, except you get to drift while you're at the picnic. You're not playing soccer.
Yeah.
That's the sort of vibe I get.
Yeah, if that's one event I'll do next year, it'll be one event I'll probably do 100%, because I have so much fun at that place. I guess it's always challenging because it's not something you do every day. It's not, you go to a track, you go to a track, do a corner that's flat, go there, you're going up and over and down.
I guess, so turning the tables a little bit on you, you're willing to travel, but and you want guys from around the country to come up to your event, but what's it going to take to get the local guys from up there to do what you're doing, or even just to do 1 or 2 events outside of the NT next year?
Well, a few of us are already chatting about it next year. So there's a few of us that are keen. I just have to sit down with them and just, I guess, explain how much it's going to cost. I guess a lot of them don't know. If we could get someone to drive a truck down, it'll be obviously better for everyone, because they don't have to take 4 or 5, 6 days off work. But I know there's a few people that are keen, and we just have to obviously sit down with them and see what they want to do, if they actually want to do it. And I guess once again, they want to do it now. Doesn't mean they're going to want to do it when it comes around next February.
Yeah, but are they looking to try and hit sort of bigger events, like a one day at Archie for a Cash Kings or a DCA isn't worth it? They'd rather some sort of big invitational event?
They would like to do an event of 2 days. No, they would. I know a lot of guys that would be keen to go do it. It's just obviously I'm not going to say I've got the money to do it, but I've got the avenue to be able to do it. Like I could take off time when I want.
Yeah.
And like my mate, one of my good mates, Ben, he's building a JZX 110 at the moment. He's just finishing his car. That's got 2J, G-force, rear rad, PDM, everything in it. It's full. Everything's been done to that car. So that's getting sent to Adelaide next few weeks to get wired up and tuned by CC. Well, the shop CC works at. So he might even look at maybe leaving that down to do a comp or something down south.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 cars now as well.
And I think as people start to trust more people and know that there are places that, hey, I could leave my tow car, trailer, and car, or even if it was to come down on a transport or something, that the cars could all live down there for, a month or so, and be looked after between events. But I think a lot of people are really reluctant because it's like, if it's not in my possession, it's not safe. But you've built it and proved that it's possible to have people look after your car in another state. They just don't always put the uni joints back in properly, but.
No, I can't. No, I got nothing to say about Spencer. He's helped me. He's one of my best mates now, and we've done it through drifting. And like the amount of help he's done to me, and even just going like to Tassie and stuff, spotting for me, and just helping me fix my car whenever I need it. Like we were at the drivers thing on, I think the drivers and Tassie at the drivers where they announced the qualifying, like, and he was changing my gearbox off. Like he's one of the top blokes. Just puts his hand up, and unfortunately, so he wants to fix his car now, which is what I told him he had to do. I told him no more working on my car. He got to fix his own first. So my car's at Metal Crew Custom Fab getting. I'll talk to Stringer in the next few days. Obviously, just sort out what we're going to do and get that back together, get that fixed, and then the motor's actually going to come out of that as well because it's got low oil pressure. That's fine. There's not actually damage to it. It's just a probably new oil pump, put it back together, and we'll be right again. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you tell Mitch that one of your mates, Jake, is fucking Jake is putting up pictures of me taking screenshots. I look like a fucking idiot.
It's when the screen freezes, I think.
Yeah. One of EG's mates is moving up there to Catherine to work in the RAF, or he's currently working with the RAF, and is going to take one of his cars up there. So he said he'd be keen on it.
Both of them, I think.
He said he'd be keen on a truck, so I'm sure he thought he'd have a bunch of downtime with the cars, but I'm sure if there's a few people travelling that Jakey boy might actually send his car around a little bit too.
Yeah. And that's it. My mate and I were looking at Rob White's old truck. That's for sale at the moment.
What's that one?
The old Achilles transporter.
Is that the one with the kitchen and bedrooms and stuff in it, or is it something else?
I don't think so.
No, it's something else. Okay.
Shit, it's on My
105.
Oh, what do you call it? Nah, it's on what's the other mob?
Grays Online.
The people that sell stuff. Yeah, that's it. That's on.
Oh, okay.
It's on Grays Online. For 12.5. I spoke to him. He's like, "No, I won't take less than 25." I was like, "Oh, okay, right here." But yeah, we were looking at that, and I was like, "Oh," because my mate's got the license to drive it and everything like that. But, and you could make your money back pretty quickly, but then it's like you've got to take 8 days off work to go drive. Other people are going to just fly into the event. Like, it's all cool and all, but you then got to take time off work to get everyone else there. But
yeah, I think that's where a few people are unsure of what other people are doing to be able to get the time off. But you work for yourself. Nathan Greenhill works for himself. I work for myself, and I think there's a few others who work for ourselves. And when we're working, we're earning money, and when we're not, we're not. But we can sort of make that decision whether or not we take the hit or not to go and drive and do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, Greenhill's still actually in Darwin. He leaves tomorrow, I think. He's been up here with the family having a holiday as well.
Yeah, that's how I'd sort of want to play that. If I'm going to go up there, I want to see a little bit and get eaten by a crocodile like a good European tourist.
Well, that's it. That's what we've told a lot of guys. Actually come up and make it a weekend or a week. Like Dale did it the first time. I think he come up and spent a few more extra days up here, but now he's obviously seen everything. He just comes up for the weekend and goes home. But yeah, it's something we're trying to push massively, the event. And with Tail and Bend opening, there may be a return visit State of Origin, like go to SA. There may be. We've spoken about it, but obviously that's going to be up to whoever runs the events in SA. Like we don't know yet, unfortunately. So, but yeah, we want to keep building it, and we want to keep building it in the right way. The fact that it is a laid back event. There's no crap. There's no whinging. Unfortunately, a few years ago we had an incident where the judges got abused from the bottom, and one of the judges actually said, "That's it, I'm done, never judging again." And unfortunately, we're lucky enough to have him. He helped us on the weekend. He judged on the weekend. But the last 2 years have all been laid back. No one's got grumpy with decisions, and yeah, it's just something you don't want in the sport. And that's the best thing about DCI. I don't think I've ever seen someone have a sook at a judge or have an abusive go at a judge. I don't know. I'm not a judge either, so EG might know. But yeah,
it's interesting you asked me that question.
And I mean it at the event, EG.
Oh yeah, I think you can.
I mean at the event, not at watching High Tech.
No, I think you can find the answer out about that actually. But that's all right. I think they had a good reason to have a whinge at DCA, but that's fine. It was valid, so I'm not going to say that it wasn't. It was justified. So as long as you're not just doing it because you think you're right, but it was he had a point, and then no, it was good. It's good when there's feedback, even if it comes across that way where it's like very aggressive. It still makes the judges think about it, and it's as long as you can take it, because you understand someone's knocked out, they're unhappy, and then they're going to act that way. But it's definitely I think it's better that you say something than nothing at all. But if you do say it in the wrong way, it might not be taken in like productively. Yeah. But it shouldn't really. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't mind, but yeah, other people might react differently. That's I guess the bigger issue.
Yeah.
So you're a fucking wanker, okay?
I know that. Yeah, definitely.
That's
I think everyone knows that.
It's enough said.
Yeah, but that's fine. And it is like it's not like I disagree with it, but that's just me. Like there's other judges around as well, and they might not take it, and then they could react differently as well, or whatever. So, but yeah, it's better if you have like a normal discussion without that sort of adrenaline.
Yeah, that's it. Correct.
Yeah. So
that's it.
No, it's good. Otherwise, yeah, it's been good. I like it.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's probably lucky that you did get a judge back after they've said they've quit, because I've seen other people get very upset when they've received that sort of feedback and enough to quit. So it's all
Well, Stewie was actually the first choice of the judge, but he was busy because it was his birthday that weekend.
Yeah,
busy.
So I don't know how. Oh fuck! You should have. No, that's Tassie all over again. But anyway, but
that's not a one-off.
But yeah, that's not a one-off.
You're just like, shit. I'm pretty sure he says he drives better hungover, so that's Stewie for you.
Yeah. That's Stewie for you.
So with your series up there, that's it. With your series up there, do you run the same section every single comp, or are you running multiple layouts?
We try and alternate if we can.
Yeah, and 5-round series?
Nah. Last year we had like 1 round because obviously we were still trying to feel our way, and unfortunately we couldn't get the dates or track time.
Yeah.
But this year we've got another round in 2 weeks. I think it's 3 or 4 this year.
Yeah. Okay.
But then a ton of car parks, and then we also do a sponsors day where we give back to the sponsors. So like if you've got your individual sponsors, you bring them out, take them for rides and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is
Do you
pretty
feel like-
cool because
Do you feel like that's too many rounds for a comp at this stage, or is it seeming like that's going to be a pretty good magic number?
No, because it's spread out over the year.
Yeah.
It's not like 4 comps in 3 weeks. It's like 4 comps over 6 months.
Yeah, I just more
Because
mean
in
people
Darwin
running
you
out of
have
steam.
6 weeks. Oh, no, I don't think so. Because the guys that are doing comps are pretty dedicated. They want to have the rounds.
Yeah. Okay.
They want to prove that they're better than the person next to them.
Yeah.
But the issue with us is 6 weeks before the V8s, we're not allowed to use the track at all. It's like on lockdown.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which isn't bad.
yeah.
You sort of if you line it up to be your mid-season break sort of time, it's not so bad, I guess. But then I'm guessing the summers for you are probably pretty shit in regards to track time. Well, not track time, but actually you like wanting to be in a car.
Oh, yeah, it's hot. It's wet too, and the cars get pretty hot.
Yeah.
So
Because
it's unbelievable how much humidity does to a temperature.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Yeah, there's just no heat transfer really. Yeah, fair enough then. So yeah, that does make it difficult, and the fact that the V8 sort of lock it down for the ideal time of year for temperature. Yeah. Although there's talk of them moving to a summer series, so I'm not sure what that would mean for 2020. They're talking a summer series, so I'm not sure what that would mean for Northern Territory, but maybe a night event potentially, which might work out for you guys because
they've squashed that idea in the head already. The new government just killed that idea.
Yeah, with the lights though, but Sydney Motorsport Park, they don't have any fixed lights anywhere, and they're running it as a night event this year, so they're just going to put all the diesel powered lights everywhere. I would imagine. So I guess that probably gets expensive, but let's see what the Sydney Motorsport Park event does, and then I'm sure it might become a standard format the same way T20 cricket became a standard format and all that sort of stuff, just to try and punch it into primetime TV. Might end up actually benefiting us as drifters because it potentially opens up track time to the times that they don't want stuff on TV and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know. We can only hope. That's me sort of looking at it with rose-colored glasses, but we can hope so.
Yeah, that's it.
So don't you have any rich mining people or rich gas moguls or anything up there that would build you guys a track or anything that you can keep pulling out to drift events and hope that they get the bug?
Nah, not really. Unfortunately, all the big moguls are all fly in, fly out, unfortunately. So they're all in China or overseas.
Spewing. You think with the amount of money sort of coming in through that state that you would, or territory, that you would hope there'd be some rich people that sort of get involved, but doesn't sound like there's any dudes bleeding money up there that are involved.
Yeah, no, not really. No, not at all.
What's the wider motorsport community like up there? I know Speedway's fairly strong, but what's
massive?
What's the circuit
Drag's
racing and
pretty
stuff
big. Circuit racing's not massive. Drag is probably the biggest one, and mud racing's pretty big too.
Yeah, like as in mud drag style stuff, or
Nah, yeah. So they go round and round in a bog hole, in 2 tracks next to each other.
Yeah, I think I saw that
and
on
there. Motocross is massive up here.
Yeah, I think motocross is sort of big most places just because it's cheap and easy to get into. Much in the way of like road bikes and stuff at Hidden Valley?
Yeah, they do road bikes at Hidden Valley too, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
they've got a little bit of everything, but they're not all massive, but everyone does their own thing.
Yeah, just trying to work out where it sort of stuff's dictated from because of things like track availability or who gets sort of the run of things, because there's a few rich guys in a Porsche club or something like that who book out half the days. Like BMW books out Sydney Motorsport Park like weeks at a time, and that's what sort of kills a lot of events down here because for some reason BMW rents out the track for days on end. So all those sort of politics that are involved. So what's the plan moving forward? Just keep doing what you're doing, and what's the vision for the club in the next, say 5 years or so? Just keep doing what you're doing and try and take it to the wider community up there.
Yeah, I guess trying to keep the club going the way it is, and I guess trying to get new people in the club's always good, but trying to get people that actually want to come drift, do competitions as well, not just come for the thrash days on a Friday night, stuff like that. I guess as well. Unfortunately, you need drivers to keep the club alive.
Yeah. With undercams, do you have to have full cages and do all that sort of stuff?
No, we don't need cages. I only need cages for passengers.
Okay, that's not so bad then. So Cams is pretty good with you guys up there then. So, yeah, I guess it'll be interesting to see what you guys can do. Is it Darwin still growing in population as a city and got a decent amount of young people, or is it sort of been same sort of population the whole way through?
It's growing slowly, but there's a lot of people leaving now. Impact's kind of destroyed that, but all the FIFO workers. But yeah, unfortunately, it's in a hole at the moment. Like the economy up here, it's kind of in a down at the moment.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. We'll come back up. Obviously, when, I don't know. But It's in a bit of a stalemate at the moment.
Yeah, which makes it hard for you guys to get new blood in there if people either can't afford to do it or there's not new people. Yeah, it's hard to keep it going. Anything else from any sponsors or anything you want to plug, or guys who are involved with the series that you want to give a shout out to, or anything like that as we sort of hit the 2 hour mark?
I've obviously got my own massive like X Drift. They help, and Danny down on Mobile Care. Like, as soon as the motor let go, he was the first person to say, all right, we'll get this sorted. Flash Tyres, obviously coming on board this year. I hopefully get to use him. I've got that many tyres still sitting in the shed at home from when I went down from Adelaide, brought them back up. Obviously, Nike Electrical sponsored me. Direct Clutch is a massive one as well, with the clutches for both cars. Sleeker Spares, every time I go to Adelaide, they always help. And people don't give me stuff for free, but out of their kindness of their heart, they just I'll only buy my stuff from Kelly. I got hubs and everything sent up for my car. One of my best mates, Hudson Auto Detailing, he helps out where he can. My sponsors aren't massive, but they help out where they can, and I don't expect anything from them. They obviously just give where they can. And Metal Crew Custom Fab, he's doing my tube rear in the other car. And obviously, it's just, I don't go out of my way to say, oh, you need to give me this. It's more if you can help me out. Well, that's all I ask for.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of where Drift is at this stage. We don't have a big enough platform, and everybody's not putting in enough as a platform to justify asking for the world. And you build those relationships. Listening to Maximum Driftcast today or from yesterday, where they spoke to guys from AEM that they have a good relationship with, and just interesting listening. And it really is about a personal relationship more than it is about just sending in, impersonal or asking for, for gifts or for things that, they don't deserve yet or aren't entitled to just yet. So, it's good to know you've got a good, strong community around you and a lot of guys who are helping you out, but you also are giving a lot back and trying to grow the sport in your own corner of this gigantic country that we try and all drive massive, around to enjoy it. You probably know better than most of us do.
Oh, trust me, I've seen the highway between here and Adelaide a few times, and but I guess it's always when you go on the drive, it's the end. As I said before, it's the end result when you get there of catching up with people and having a rad time. If the series was boring, you'd go there and go, oh, I'm going to drive, and turn around and go home. But when you go there, I look forward to every time I go away to go drifting.
Yeah.
That's a good
I'm the
attitude.
same.
What about so you don't have YouTube? I think you're saying before. We don't take. Do you get on anywhere else like Instagram or Facebook, posting your photos or?
I got my own Facebook thing, like Hulk Motorsports Drifters.
That's
Is a
what it is.
Facebook
I was
page
trying to
for me,
find it.
but
It's
I
on
was
his
trying to find
shirt,
it today.
right? It's
No. I knew that, but today when I was trying to tag him in that post,
yeah.
I was like, fuck, what's his thing? Most of the time when I'll do like at
It's
Mitch or
green.
at whoever, it'll no. I knew that, but normally it will come up as like it would be like Mitch Doyle Hulk or whatever, but he's only under as Hulk, so I was like, that makes sense now. Now I feel like a dick.
So I don't do a lot of stuff because I don't have much time to do like the whole videos thing. I want to start doing not what Lippy does, but just actually having in-car footage would be good. And I got to talk to obviously sister's partner to do up some stuff for me. But if I could have someone do that side for me and not have to worry about it, that's the easier thing than trying to remember to turn the camera on every time. Or yeah. So
Constant power to the camera, some sort of wireless remote that's got constant power in the car. Then literally all you got to do is press the button before you do a run, and it also makes it a shitload easier to edit because all the shit's already cut out of it.
Yeah, you can cut out the potato driving.
Oh, not only that, but it's more so that you don't have to worry about sitting in that you've pressed the on button, you pull next car in line, you pull up, and then all of a sudden some dude in a green S13 breaks the coil over and has to be towed off the track. Like,
Luke didn't tell me I was slowly either. That was painful. That was far out. That was a skull drag down the mountain as quick as he could.
Yeah.
What about Teeter? Do they have anything besides Facebook?
No, really just Facebook. I think there's an Instagram page, but our biggest thing is obviously Top End Drift Association, Teeter.
Yeah.
On Facebook's where you can find virtually everything about it. You can always private message me anything about it as well. Like, there's always avenues to go, and we'll send the people in the right direction. Like, we've got our president Shane Davidson, who's been there since the club started. Andrew Billy, his nickname's Billy. He's our obviously vice president. He's been there since day one as well. So the two people that are at the top of the table have been there since day one with the club. So we all have a passion for it. I guess we only have one club in Darwin, like non-territory. You go like Victoria's only 1, 2 as well, but I think New South Wales got a few drift clubs.
Yeah.
You go to WA, they've got 2. We're not fighting each other. It's all about us, and we're all passionate about keeping the one club going.
Yeah.
And making it for the drivers, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's good. It makes we'll cut out some of the fighting that happens, I guess, for some reason or another.
And just the undercutting too, like,
we've
got an event on this weekend, or we're going to try and get access to the track. Oh, you can't have it now, and all this sort of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just happens between clubs, not between drift clubs, between other clubs. So.
Yeah. Yeah, but at least it's not within a discipline fighting itself.
Yeah, that's it. And like most of the drivers are all dedicated to the club as well. They want to see the club grow because if the club does die, well, then there's no drifting. You might as well sell your cars.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're not worth anything anyway because there's nowhere to go drifting for somebody else to buy it.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know why you'd sell a drift car. I just keep all mine.
Yeah, I know you're a hoarder, mate. Your cars, you don't even have real drift cars, mate. Yours are just stock standard cars with cut and shut knuckles.
They don't even have that. Oh yeah, well, no, they do have that now. But yeah.
Any other topics? Anything you want to touch on at all, Mitch?
No, not really. Not really at all.
Do you want to stay with us while we're going to do a quick wrap on FD Japan? Did you watch that at all last weekend?
No, I was too busy driving.
Oh yeah, fuck. Well, Jesus, I feel like a real.
No, I'll get going. I got dinner waiting on the table, so
yeah.
Dinner.
All right.
Go to my sister's house to have dinner. I'm like, EG, it's Wednesday night. He goes, what's on Wednesday night? I'm like, State of Origin. Because I don't care about that shit anyway. So I was like, oh yeah, fair enough.
And New South Wales
So-
just lost 18-12. So
Oh, thanks for telling me that. I haven't watched it yet. Far out. I'm happy they lost. It's all right. But
well, there. I'm
I
glad.
appreciate
I told
you two for
Have
letting me on too. Thank you.
No, it's good to have you. You speak really well, and if you want to do more with your social media platform, definitely go for it. You're somebody who definitely carries themselves really well. Team always looks good. Do all that. If there are guys like you and Lippy and all that who are wanting to do more with it, others will follow, and it will only do good things for the sport within the country. So if you want to do it, just make it happen like you are with the club stuff as well. And yeah, we're more than happy to help try and push you from that side as well, because the more people that do it, the better it is for the scene. So
even if it's a short video, I think
Yeah,
it's
that's it.
really good. Some people prefer short videos rather than long,
Yeah.
half an
Yeah,
hour
that's it,
things.
yeah. Like Greg.
yeah, that's it. Jumping into a lake and shit.
Yeah.
All right. All right,
All right.
we'll let you go and have your dinner. And yeah,
No
we'll
worries.
catch up.
Cheers, thanks, guys.
All right, thanks for coming on.
No worries. Cheers. Like.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry, Mitch, if you watch this back, I apologize for ruining the score for you.
Cool. All right. Well, that was good.
Yeah, no, honestly, he speaks really well, and I hope that he does a little bit more with his social media stuff. It really is a matter of guys getting the confidence just to get on and do it.
I know. Yeah, a lot of people are nervous when awkward. They feel awkward, I guess, when they have the camera and they point at themselves in front of everyone else, and you're pretty much talking to no one. So
you feel like it. You do feel like a dickhead the first few times.
Yeah, but then you push through it, and then I think if you include people in the area rather than ignoring them, that's probably the biggest thing. So it's not so much because some people they just sort of like pretend that they don't, the people around you aren't there. But I think if you're inclusive of them, it probably is probably better, is my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw Jacob Peck's latest video from he went to Smooth Dick's mid-year muster or whatever it was, and
yeah, I saw that.
He was sort of the same. He makes reference to like people looking at him funny, and then he's grabbing Dylan Simpson and stuff like that just in on the shot, and yeah, it does make it a little bit more natural. And realistically, the way the video comes out is completely different to what it feels like when you're doing it in person. So just make it happen, and yeah, I think it's becoming more socially acceptable. But even speaking to Troy about it a little bit today, it's sort of if you're wanting to gain sponsorship, the more reach you can get from more platforms, the more chance you got of picking up sponsors. YouTube's made it almost impossible now to.
I hope you got a screenshot of that, Jake.
Oh, did I look like a real dickhead?
He had a juice face on.
Shit. I see it now. Oh, Jesus. I don't know.
Oh, you're watching the stream. Okay, sorry. You continue.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're bad. Leave me alone, mate. Yeah, look, realistically, with YouTube nuking what they're paying people, your best bet is to gain sponsorship. And by doing that, you're just better off getting reach from as many platforms as possible. We've done thousands of hours of clutch kick videos now, and we're about halfway to what you would need to monetize a channel. So yeah, look, you need to be doing a lot of work to monetize getting just sent a check from YouTube. So if you're able to just get as much reach as possible, become a little bit more of an influencer, and then gain the attention of some sponsors, that's going to be your best bet for your social media platforms that I'm seeing at the moment. If somebody else has got a better idea, that's fine. Let us know. But I think at this stage, that's your best bet: is get as much reach, get as much stats as possible, and then take it to sponsors and try and sell it to them, as well as the whole package. You've got your car, you've got your social media reach, you've got all that stuff. So, and then speaking of people doing things with social media platforms, FD Japan was on the weekend. And we had two Aussies competing over in Japan. You're looking like
Yeah. Two
I think
Aussies.
yeah,
I
it's
just
just
kept
two
thinking there's
Aussies.
three. I don't know why.
We can take Mad Mike. He's come out for World Title Taker.
Nah,
We can claim
no,
him.
nah, it's all right.
And so we had Matty Hill made his Formula Drift debut
Yep.
in Japan, and looked a little bit out of his comfort zone at times. Sort of missed the start tried to jump the start too much in his chase battle with Andy Gray, but then looked really, really comfortable and solid in his lead run. So I think it's just him finding sort of his way
Yeah,
around the
that's
formalities that are.
unusual of him because he's like normally a very solid driver. So I thought just watching his practice laps and things is well, maybe it might be like a car setup thing because he did make some suspension changes and I think he
Huge
just
changes to that car.
yeah. I thought it was only
It went
just
from
the front end, wasn't it?
no, we went from PVM
Yeah, to
steering lock
Wisevale.
stuff to that, and then he went from whatever turbo to a big EFR
Oh yeah,
turbo,
GTX
just more responsive and all that.
35 something or other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did all that. He went to a G-Force gearbox here. Then, yeah, he also went to a Winters quick change rear end, and people say you lose a good 30% or something of power through one of them, or some
Really?
some huge number. I was actually very surprised when I actually heard the number that. Need to get exact numbers from somebody, but it's a decent percentage loss through a Winters quick change, which I was like, I didn't realize it was that high, and yeah, I was pretty blown away by that. That's why Ryan Turk still runs and even Frederick Osbo still run factory Toyota diffs because you don't get the power loss through them. So
That seems ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy.
uh,
Anyway, it just looked like he's might be to be in a car setup issue that he's trying to get used to, and that's why he sort of looked a bit awkward on track.
yeah, and it's a big deal for him. Like he's sort of hitting a dream I think it's been a whirlwind since they air freighted the car back from New Zealand and then air freighted over to Japan. It's probably hasn't actually struck him yet that the whole thing is actually real, and he's probably only just sort of coming to that realization now. So I would imagine the next round at Fuji is probably going to be a lot more settled for him, and I'm sure he'll probably be driving that car over in Japan a little bit more before he.
Yeah, I wonder if he's staying there.
It seems like they're still there at the moment, so I'm sure he'll probably try and get a few more practice kids in there in that car before, before that goes down.
Because the other thing is that they started or they announced their drift school that they're running in Japan, and that's a really cheap deal. The first school that they're going to run, I think it's $5,000. Well, I think it's cheap anyway for what you get. It's all inclusive from Australia, flights, track time. I think I figured it out. It's about 5 days of track time. But you do share the car, but it works out to be, it works out I think really well if everything's inclusive for $5,000. That first trip is very cheap. Unless you start doing things yourself, then you can make things better. But if you don't know anything, this is like a guided tour with drifting, and for $5,000, flights inclusive, super cheap. I'd really recommend people get on that one because there's only 12 people.
Yeah, it's called the Sideways Experience on Facebook. They've only just started that page, so or hit up Warwick or Matty Hill directly, or even the Foreman's page, so that they can direct you to the right place. So if you're on Facebook, even if you're not on Facebook, look for the Sideways Experience, and look. Let's see what comes of the first one, and hopefully they get a good turnout on it, and it becomes something that that they can do more often, I guess. But yeah, 4 cars, couple of instructors, definitely an easy way to get to Japan, especially now that with all the missile rules and all that sort of stuff, it's getting harder and more expensive to get over there. So if somebody takes care of all those logistics, or people who are just scared to sort of jump in the deep end and make it all happen, it's it's already served and done for you. So yeah, Matty got knocked out top 32 against Andy Gray. Andy Gray's, I think, defending two-time FD Japan champion. So not really a surprise, and the fact that it was at Ebisu and with the guy who runs the car sales service from there, you're probably not going to beat him. So hats off to Matty for his first appearance, and even the team had made an impression on the judges and all that there, because Ryan Lontaine, the head judge, was co-commentating and made good reference to the team, and that they seemed like they were there for a good time and were really getting involved with everything. So definitely good feedback on that side. And then fellow Aussie Nick Wilson made it right through to the finals, coming second. I've just seen little bits and pieces of him from FD Japan stuff. I don't really know him through much else other than that.
Yeah, he's been to Japan a few times. Like, he used to be a regular, so when I would go, he'd already be there. He's also in Japan. He also did the D1SL. I think it was just a regional series, so like East series, and I think he placed really.
I think the commentator said he used to work at Power Vehicles.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, I thought maybe, but then
commentator sounded like he was a mechanic or something for Power Vehicles.
A fabricator. Yeah. I saw him do stuff, but then, I wasn't quite sure if he actually worked there, or is it sort of like working and getting some sort of benefit out of them, like free board or like free storage or something. Not free storage, but like they're sort of exchanging services, if that makes sense. So I wasn't quite sure, because they had like their regular mechanics, and I didn't quite sure if he was sort of like in that year, because they're the mechanics are normally there for a year at least, or maybe longer. And so Nick was
just
only
on
there.
A working visa sort of thing.
I don't know. I don't exactly know I don't exactly know how they do it, but they normally offer like a year's worth of work, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would imagine it would be some sort of visa scheme that you can get over there on, and that's sort of the turnover rate.
It's 18 months, I think, visa that you can get, and you've got to get a job out of it. But I'm not 100% sure how they were organising it. So they could have worked. He could have. It looked like technically he's working there. I had worked at Power Vehicles, but I didn't think he was one of the like main mechanics. I thought maybe he was sort of working there in exchange for other things. Maybe, probably getting paid, but it's kind of like a contract, if that makes sense. So a short-term kind of thing.
Yeah. So Nick ended up second overall.
Yep.
He got a little bit lucky on a few runs, but also did some solid driving in a few places. So, that's the luck of the draw, really, with the drifting sometimes.
Yeah, well, consistency is part of it. So.
Yeah, and the car survived, which a few other people struggled with. I know Daigo looked fairly awful, but it sounds like that car actually was having mechanical trouble.
From the start.
So
it sounded like it.
So he was basically just driving it on anti-lag and trying to beat the shit out of it. But from a Facebook post,
I watched the live stream in Japanese, and so one of the commentators made was, it sounded like it had dropped a valve, but it'd been doing it consistently earlier, so it might have been more noticeable in person, like actually at the track, than through the live stream.
Yeah.
The other thing was the Japanese commentator was kept calling out to Matty Hill as well, which I thought was funny, because they would always sort of jump around and entertain, I guess, the camera whenever it turned to them. So that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, there were a few other Aussie guys there too. There was James, I can't think of your last name. I met him when I drove up at Rally last year. He was over there spectating. Had a blowout on the freeway trying to get to the track and got that fixed, and then made it to the track for the event. So few people over there making the effort to get out to events and watch. So definitely cool, and yeah, challenging track. I drove that on. Finally got my Assetto Corsa fully set up, and I'm pretty obsessed at the moment.
Yeah,
There's a
I've
big
seen from your posts on Facebook.
yeah, I'm going pretty good. Did you see that mad 3-car wall ride
I saw
from
that,
Wakefield
and
last
so
night?
I
Yeah,
have big expectations from you this weekend,
yeah.
as I said. But
Well, you should have seen that run. We lost the video footage of it. It was yeah,
whatever.
it was just
But
a
you got a
mint run.
screenshot.
Yeah, I got a screenshot, but I don't know what happened
Okay.
to the video footage. My
Alright.
GoPro wiped it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, everyone's been talking about it. Oh, everyone. There's a lot of people around me been talking about it. Sort of saying, hey, I should get a steering wheel, and because getting
You
the game is not
really
that.
should. Yeah, the game is cheap.
Yeah, the game's cheap. It's only $20, so
Yeah, and then the
um,
mods and stuff are all free.
yeah.
They're all
It's
free.
just a wheel. Like I'm just trying to, and I've already got things to do already. So playing a game when I should really be fixing my car.
It's not a game. It's practice.
So
Jake's saying you can't play for shit. That's why you haven't got one.
no, it's not why I haven't got one. It's I can't play it. I've tried. It feels really awkward. I can't get used to it.
Nah, I think you'd be able to make it. I think you'd be able to make it work. And the
I
other
think
night we
I
had
can. I think I can practice, and then I can get better at it. But to me,
yeah.
it doesn't feel anything like a real car.
Nah, I was surprised. Like I had struggled with Assetto Corsa originally, and when I set back up, I had done just a lot of live for speed again.
So,
And I jumped on it recently, and it felt pretty good.
yeah,
So
but how can I say it? So with that, I can see examples of where simulators work, and I can see examples of where simulators don't work. So it must be. It's not so much a simulator. It's the way that the person actually thinks about driving.
oh
So
yeah, for sure. Like you've got to drive the simulator. You have to have a greater understanding of the way the car's moving and working to actually keep it going. Yeah, this is definitely a topic we should have on a different day. But yeah, there's definitely huge value, and also how you've got your settings set up can also make a huge difference. I drove somebody's really expensive setup, but it actually had no proper return, like wheel return to center, like that caster feel, and that was just trying to grip race the bloody thing. Like you had to physically put the wheel back to the center and all that sort of stuff. It didn't sort of feed itself back to the middle when you got on throttle, and you just sort of like, yeah, you can. It's just total junk, really.
yeah.
But then if you've got it set up right, and when you're driving with, the last couple of days I've been driving with guys who know how to drive, like Andrew Date, who's in the drives in Japan a bunch and drives a bunch here, can steer and cuts laps on there, consistently, no spinning, and then Blake Patterson and Grant and all those guys. So, there's definitely value in it.
Yeah, that's why I can say yes. But then look at some other guys who practice a lot and they just absolutely shit on track. It's like, well, what's the difference? They both practice the same amount. Why is this person better and this person's not? Like, it doesn't make sense. It must be the way. It's not so much a simulator. It's the way they take the information, or the way they figure it out.
That they're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be a problem for them in general, trying to learn anything really. If you don't sort of look at it in that constructive way, I guess.
Well, I don't know what way that is, because I can't even drive a Assetto Corsa. So if I drive a Assetto Corsa like I do in real life, it just doesn't work.
Whose setup have you tried to drive though?
I've driven Connor's setup.
Yeah, well, there's your problem. He's got to probably set up like a front wheel drive or something weird.
No,
Let's drive the guy who drives the Prelude.
When Jake drives, it's fine. So it's not so much. It's not that, because it's. Yeah, I don't know. The other thing is, like, if I get a wheel, then it's gonna cost money. So I need to find it very cheaply. Like my, when I find deals and stuff, I need to find it like that sort of value. I don't have as much money as you, Greg.
Man, a secondhand G27 is like $200.
Okay. Well, you can get me it.
I have a G25 that's sitting here that I've like pulled parts off because parts of the G27 are broken.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if it comes up at a good price, then I think I would consider it. But
When's your next birthday, mate?
next year.
Oh, you've already had your birthday. Oh, I was going to say we could try and do a group buy for you.
Oh, $50. So Andrew Date said he's got his $50, and if it's $50, yeah, I'd buy it.
Okay,
If it
done.
works.
Let's keep an eye out. Let's keep an eye out. Or if anybody's upgrading and trying to get rid of an old steering wheel, EG's in the market, and then his life is over because he's going to spend way too much time on it. He's got no good internet anyway, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, I know. I have to. No, I don't. I'm running out of data anyway on my mobile, so
Yeah.
again,
Uh,
it's
yeah.
expensive. I hate the internet here. We're still not going to get IMDN for I don't know, a year, 2 years, 3 years. No idea. Never.
Yeah.
Probably never. Okay.
Have you lined somebody up for next week yet? Not yet.
I haven't nailed them down.
Okay.
I want to, but no, there's no one locked in.
All right, and then I've spoken to Troy Lipshinsky, and he's down to come on at some stage, so
Cool.
probably get him a little bit closer to DCA was your plan with him, so
Yeah. I do
he'll
have
be coming on at some stage.
some other guys I have that I think will be good guests. I think they'll be interested as well. Just speaking to some other people, and but yeah, no one nailed in for next week, but I'm working on them, so we'll see.
Yeah, and if you're not guys, if you guys who don't listen live, and I know we actually do have a lot of people who end up listening to this as much as you think we don't get a whole bunch, but we have on average up near 100 or more than 100 people listen to a video. If you've got guys who are interested or somebody who you think we should approach because they're interesting, let us know. Send either of us a message, or if you don't have direct contact with us, because EG doesn't friend people very often on Facebook, just message the Facebook page or just drop it in the comments, and we'll try and hit those people up. Yes, Jake, I would love to get Andy on, because yeah, definitely would have some interesting stories from different forms of drifting. And yeah, anything else for tonight, EG?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered everything because last weekend was FD and Tita, and that was it.
Yeah. I think that was pretty much it.
And it's a month till we leave for Japan, or it's just under a month. So we have to make plans to figure out what we're going to do then.
Yeah. Entries are still open expressions of interest are still open at the moment for Cash Kings, and entries are still open for round 3 of DCA season. So if you're interested in doing them, get your entries in. I know Luke's trying to finalize his list for Cash Kings so that he can get some announcements out of the way. And there are a few surprises in on that list of guys who you think would potentially be driving the other event or have previously driven in the other series, but will be coming and driving Cash Kings. So wait for formal announcements of those, but definitely cool.
Yeah.
And
I heard about those, and it'd be fun. I think it'd be a really good round.
Yeah, definitely going to be cool. Shame EG's not going to be around for it, but hopefully, there'll be some good social media on it, and definitely get it all out there. I think at this stage we're done with this one. We'll talk some shit off air and fill you in on some of it next week.
Cool. All right. So this is where we cue the outro music, which we don't have. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
We get.
I'll keep going. I'm still.
Doing... They don't want to listen to that shit.